Hello, everyone. Hi, hi. Hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. Mency, congrats on the first. Welcome in. Hello, Blake. Hello, Hamoudi. Hello, Strawberry. Hello, Rald. Hello, Deco. Hello, Fox. And hello, Patat. Oh, my goodness. That was a big sigh. What's up, big? What's up, big boy? What's up? Not even close. It's not even close to dinner time. It's not even 1 p.m. yet, bud. I'm at work, so I'll be in and out. Good luck at work with that. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. How you guys doing? It's Monday, my dudes. I hope your weekend was good. You want to go outside? No, it's too hot out there, bud. Used to work like 2 hours away from a strawberry farm. Let me tell you, fresh strawberries are the best. They are. I think Benzi was, yeah. Today on TikTok, I saw the difference between strawberries in the US and strawberries in other part of the world, and I'm distressed. Other strawberries look so good and juicy. I think I've seen a video like that. But I would like to point out that most of the times the strawberries you see in other parts of the world are grown during strawberry season. But here in America, because we're lucky enough to have many different biomes in one country, we grow strawberries no matter the time of year. So strawberries are gonna be a little less red, say in the wintertime when they're not in season, versus in the summertime when is strawberry season. So they usually be a lot more red in the summertime than they are gonna be in the winter. So I would like to point that out. That's my inner agriculture nerd coming out there. You're sleepy? Take a nap. It's gonna be Minecraft today. It's gonna be pretty chill. Usually. I mean, we'll see on my voice. I may have been singing a little too much. I was taking a shower in Walking Link and I was singing like the whole time because I was in a singing type of mood today. Yeah. But America, you have different areas growing strawberries throughout the year. Yeah. Actually, California is one of the highest producers of agriculture in general in the entire world. It is like in the top 10, I believe. And California is warm pretty much all year round, so we do get to grow the tropical fruits all year round. It's just that they're not going to be as ripe and shiny as they would be in the summertime, depending on the fruit. I hope your voice didn't get wrecked. I was yapping, wasn't I, yesterday in Uno? For those of you guys that didn't make it to the Uno stream yesterday, I wasn't streaming, but Strawberry in chat and also Sev was streaming it. Min tried, but bless him, he was crashing a lot. But yeah, you should check them out. Their VOD, I'm assuming, is still up. Maybe don't check it out, actually. I was kind of unhinged, now that I think about it. Yeah. Mangoes. Yeah. Actually, could we give a shout out for Strawberry in chat? I hope I am ripe and shiny fruit in the next life. Why not now? I mean, you're already part of the berry brigade, so I mean, you're already a strawberry. Thank you for giving a shout out, Vency. You're watching and grabbing clips. It was so funny. Oh my god. Oh my. Sometimes so there's two sides of me, right? Off stream. I'm either gonna be extremely unhinged because I'm off stream and like I don't have to watch myself as much, or I'm gonna be crazy quiet. Unfortunately, they got the unhinged me yesterday. I was just saying my thoughts without thinking about it. I'm ripe and shiny now. I just gotta carry it forward. Literally joined, heard French hating, fell asleep yesterday. That's crazy. Hamoudi speaks French from what I understand, so that's pretty crazy. I missed you guys. I feel like I haven't gotten to yap as much because what did I stream last week? I don't remember, but I think I was in a little bit of a funky mood last week. I hope you guys weren't affected by it as much, but I did miss chatting with you guys. Which is why we're doing Minecraft today, because I can yap as much. But I'm probably gonna be playing Monster Hunter the rest of the week. I might change it on Friday depending on my mood, but I have been in a Monster Hunter obsession, so just FYI. I enjoyed the Una stream, the parts I got to be there for at least. Oh, hold on, it's gone. Had an early night last night because I wasn't feeling well. I'm happy for today's stream. I still need to remember the time is 1 p.m. This is the last week. That the streams are going to be at 1 p.m. We'll go back to our regular scheduled programming next week at 4 p.m. But this is the last week. Yes. Thankfully, on Sunday is when it's going to end. So yeah. Yeah, so I can hate it professionally. That's crazy. You've done a lot of collabs lately. Yeah, and we might have another one. But I've been having a lot of fun. I know Friday's repo wasn't for everyone, but I do appreciate those that were sticking around. I know collabs in general, I think my community doesn't tend to prefer them just because you guys like to yap with me, which is very sweet. But I do appreciate you guys sticking around because I had a lot of fun. And to be honest, guys, this is a little secret, okay? Keep it between us. We might be doing another Repo collab soon. I had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, that was crazy. I still gotta go back and clip stuff, but it was fun. How are you enjoying Monster Hunter? I'm living and breathing Monster Hunter. I'm dreaming about it. That's how I'm enjoying it. I saw there are 2 hunters. Yeah. Most likely we're gonna be doing Monster Hunter Wednesday and Friday. Ramadan is ending. I'm extremely sad. Yeah, I think this month, since most of my family was gone, it hasn't been like super enjoyable for me. I didn't get to like go to iftars and stuff like that. But overall, it was okay. I don't get to fast because of my health, but overall, it was still nice. Probably the last week I'll be on time. It's already 1:30 a.m. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's crazy. Go to sleep. Been around as much as normal, but I can only imagine how fun the Repo collab was. Hey, the good thing is I've started uploading the VODs on YouTube, so they will never expire. So if you do want to go back and watch the VODs, they're going to be on YouTube now permanently. So yeah, you never have to have that FOMO again, because they're there. And you won't have as many ads. I think YouTube is just easier to watch VODs on, so yippee. Collabs are fun to watch, though again, I fell asleep near the end. Ramadan ends on which day? On Sunday. On Sunday. For me. It might be different in other parts of the world, but yeah. Collabs are nice for me to just vibe to. That's good to know about the VODs. Am I disconnecting? Where did my... Oh. Okay, no, I'm fine. Sunday or Monday? Most likely Monday. Oh, it's Sunday for me. I pray it's Sunday. I already took off work on Sunday. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because I don't work Monday. Well, regardless, it's fine. If it's not on Sunday, then I get a break. But for those of you guys that do celebrate Eid, I think there's only one in chat, maybe. For those of you guys that don't know about Eid, first off, it's a big holiday for a lot of people. We get to, it's basically celebrating the end of Ramadan, although there's 2 versions. It's kind of like Christmas for a lot of people, right? You get to wear your best clothes, you get to eat food, you get to see family. It's really exciting. I have a really pretty dress that my dad brought home because he was traveling. It's a purple velvet dress, and I'm really excited to wear it. So yeah, depends on the moon. Yeah, but you're time traveling. You're ahead of me, so yeah, the moon might appear on Monday for you, but it's Sunday for me. I'm a day behind. I won't sleep today. I'm invited for Sahri. I don't celebrate, but I'm super excited. Oh, you're going to Sahur? How exciting. Ramadan Mubarak, thank you. Also, mini docs, I'm in Lucknow, India, so I can't miss Eid. Oh, okay. That's exciting. Oh, that's very fun. Hello, I'm here. Hi, Branda. Welcome in. Welcome in. Yeah, I always get excited because I get to wear my pretty dresses and stuff. I've been wearing the same dress, I think, for the past 2 years, just because the dress is gorgeous. Maybe I'll send a picture of it somewhere, but I got a new dress and I'm excited to wear it. Yeah. That's the only thing I know how to say, but darn it, I'm gonna say when I can. Okay, so Vensi, in your stream, you were saying Mubarak instead of Mubarak, and I was trying to tell you, but I didn't know how to say it. So it's Ramadan Mubarak, not Mubarak. But, you know, that's why I was like, Ramadan Kareem is probably easier. A fashion icon. I just don't get to wear pretty dresses that often, so I get really excited. And I don't talk about it much, you know, because just, you know. But I get excited for holidays like this. Very, very exciting. I don't know what I'm doing on Sunday yet. I'm torn because my family is very big, so which means everyone wants me to hang out with them, and I don't know who I'm gonna hang out with. It's been kind of an overwhelming month. I haven't really been talking about this that much. But this month has been quite overwhelming for me. I definitely had a few, I wouldn't say breakdowns, but just very overwhelmed. Because I'm kind of being dragged in like every direction possible. But I've been doing my best to manage it and keeping some time to myself. So I'm trying. Brando, I'm sorry I didn't respond to your DM. I only just saw it now. I was helping my dad with stuff. But yeah. You guys started Ramadan on March 1st. Here in Morocco, we started that 2nd. So either way, we're going to all get it in Monday or we'll be different. I have no idea. I guess we'll see. Hi, Javier. Oh, thank you for the head pads. That's my English pronunciation coming through. Thank you for letting me know. I love learning about this. It takes time. And Arabic is not the easiest to learn, to be honest. The accent can be difficult. Charge anyone who wants to spend time with you $10. $10. I was like, huh? Yeah, I was working on car stuff and garden stuff with my dad, so I didn't even see your message. Sorry. Don't mind me asking, what type of dress are you wearing? Here, a lot of my friends went out for kurta shopping. I'm wearing, I guess it's kind of like, what do you call Turkish abayas? It's a specific type of, oh my god, I'm blanking on the term. It's an abaya, technically, but it's like Turkish, I think. I'm not sure, actually. My dad got it in Egypt. He was in Egypt visiting my brother, so, but it looks like Turkish design. It's some sort of abaya. I'm not really sure. All good. I low-key forwarted. Yeah, we'll play more tonight. Well, maybe. I have some work to do. Okay, Link. Can you guys hear him in the back? He's rolling around back there. He's having the time of his life. Yeah. Sorry, I've been feeling overwhelmed. It's good you're taking time to care for yourself. It's really important. I also, like, it feels a little privileged of me to feel, like, overwhelmed when other people obviously are so busy, so much busier and stuff. But, you know, there's a lot of expectations of me, especially with my family. So, thank you for the hydrate. So I've just been a little overwhelmed, but it's getting better. It's getting better for sure. I'm still trying to manage. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be a better daughter, for lack of a better term. You know, that it's difficult when I can't drive as much as I used to, and my mother lives quite far away, and so I can't drive as often as I'd like. And so I did see her last week, but I only really see her once a month, and I'm trying to be better at that because I know she misses me. And my sister is coming down, and so it's kind of like a reunion thing. So I'm trying. I'm trying to get better. Yeah. Ooh, those are so beautiful. Yeah, and it's purple velvet, and I love velvet. Yes. How dare you not be able to be in a million places at once? I always feel really bad too, because obviously friends want to hang out with me too, and so much happened, and most of them don't care. Even if I might disappoint them, they don't really take it personally. I hope. But I still do my best to at least explain, and rather than leave them in the dark or ghost them, at the very least I'll be like, yeah, I'm busy or something. I'm trying to get better at that. Yeah, just like the happiness of others do not diminish yours, the sadness of others doesn't overshadow yours. Whatever you feel is rough. Aw, yeah, thank you for your words, Blink. I appreciate it. It's velvet. Yeah, it's velvet. I'll probably post it in the fashion channel when I get it all set up. Obviously I'll hide my face, but yeah, I'm excited. Yeah. We can't gauge on our own experiences based on the pace of others. It's not like you're not still experiencing it after all, and it's hard to adjust. Just because others may seem like they're having a harder time doesn't mean, yeah. You know what's crazy is I give that advice to other people, but it's so hard to take your own advice, right? Sometimes you can be really harsh on yourself. You're doing your very best, and that's all anyone can ask for. Yes, thank you. Keyboard used yours incorrectly twice. I'm switching to my PC. God, my phone's autocorrect lately is crazy. I woke up from my nap yesterday and I don't even know what I said. You're doing your very best. You got this. We love you. Thank you. I appreciate it. This wasn't meant to be like a pity moment. I like to talk to you guys sometimes, just to, you guys know we're all human here, even if we're little berries too. I need you to chill out, Link. I need you to calm down. My advice is always true for other people. Me though, nah. Yeah, it's like my sand paper. Huh? Oh yeah, Brando hates velvet, but I love velvet, so he's got to deal with it. Yeah. You like the look? I love velvet. I have a black velvet jacket that my grandmother gave me. It's basically vintage, right? Because she used to wear it when she was younger, so it's like from the 60s. This black velvet jacket, and I don't know what to wear it with because it's a little baggy. It's a little bigger on me because I think she's got a bigger frame. So I don't know what to wear it with. I think it would look really cute with a white like blouse and a corset and maybe some leather pants, but I haven't figured it out yet. Sometimes you need support, and that's important too. I'm trying to get better about that too. I'm trying to get over feeling like a burden to people. I oftentimes, when I start feeling overwhelmed or like emotional, I reach out to others I reach out to ask how others are doing instead of complaining, because I start worrying about myself, which means I start worrying about other people. And it's especially true when I have health scares. You know, when I have a really bad health day, I have a bad episode or something, I get really emotional after those. And so instead of reaching out to people and being like, hey, I just had an episode, I need help, I reach out to them and being like, hey, how are you doing? Are you all right? Like, because I don't want anyone else to go through something alone like I have in the past. So rather than ask for help, I'm asking others if they need help, if that makes sense. I don't know why I do that, but I do. Feels like you're putting too much burden on yourself. Just take it easy and go at your health pace. I'm doing my best. Yes. Thank pink velvet looks nice, but I hate the feeling of it. That's okay. I hate the feeling of like carpet rubbing against my hand. Love everything with extreme textures, but I hate and despise mixed textures. Oh, I think I don't. I think I was talking about this yesterday. I think textures doesn't bother me that much, most of the time, with the exception of carpet. I don't like the feeling of it, but yeah. You've been better with it recently? Yeah. At the very least, I will vent to Brando. Brando hears it. Girl. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. I think it's like the mindset of give to others what you would hope to be given yourself, but that's also like, it's not a give and take like that. So just because I'm super kind to others doesn't really mean I want them to be. I mean, it's nice to have them be kind back, but at the same time, I didn't grow up having that done to me. Like, I'm always the second thought, right? And I don't want anyone else to feel that way. So I'd rather give it my all and make sure everyone feels loved than have them experience what I went through, if that makes sense. That sounds so sad. I'm super chill, guys. Is anyone reaching out to make sure you're okay? Because it's okay to ask for help. It's okay if you need people to support you. You're not a burden to others. Yeah, Brando reaches out a lot. Brando is one of the few people that actually reaches out first. Most of the time, I'm the one doing the reaching out to others. Brando is one of the few that bugs me every day, and I really appreciate it. So yeah. Contarella is nearly here. How are your funds? I wouldn't say non-existent, but there's not very many. I think I have like 30 wishes. I have been taking a break from most gacha, to be honest. It's just been Monster Hunter and Marvel Rivals for me. I'm trying not to force myself if I don't want to play a game. And I haven't been feeling woo-wah right now. But I do want Cantarella. But at the same time, it's not a big deal if I don't get her. It's okay. I get you though, but also if you ever need anything or need to yap or vent in any direction, I'm here. I know so many people tell me that, but it's so hard for me to actually like reach out and be like, hey, I need to vent about something, you know? Yeah. Brando the goat. Yes. Brando hears it all. Because I think it's like, because he does the same with me, so I don't feel like I'm being a burden necessarily, which is something I struggle a lot with, feeling like I'm a burden. Also, let me switch to Minecraft, so at the very least, I'm yapping while I'm playing Minecraft, yeah? Because we are supposed to be playing Minecraft today, and I'll be yapping, and I feel like it's been ages since I've gotten to properly yap, you know? Where did my game go? Did it crash? Huh? Berry sis got you. Thank you, Berry sis. Betty Nia-chan. I think my game crashed. I had it open. I was actually being a good little berry streamer and had it all ready to go, and it's not opening. I don't know where it went. Don't go. What the frick? Oh, it's here. Oh, it's here. Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, crazy. I used to do that. A friend of mine said something that helped, so here I go. If you ever feel sad and don't want to say it out loud, invite me for a Marvel Rivals game. This goes out to everyone in chat. Yeah, actually, if I do feel like I need attention or something, or I just want someone to be there, I do ask people. Most of the time, I think my cry for help is asking how other people are doing. When you try to reach out to someone, how the hell do you do that? I can't see how you can do it without a valid, discussable topic. I ask how others are doing. That's how I do it. Because then maybe they'll ask how I'm doing. That sounds so pathetic. Oh my god. Okay, so I haven't been on Minecraft in a hot minute. I think it's been like 2 weeks. But I did want to finish up the barn that we were building last time. Also 07 to Duckley. He did in fact pass away. Where are my other animals? Wait a minute. Where's Lady Glitter Sparkles? Wait. Did I move them already? Please tell me I just moved them. Please tell me they're not like gone again. Oh my god, I'm gonna be so sad. Trust me, Bubba, when I get a random DM, like, how are you, Brando? I go into lock-in mode. Yeah, you're very good at noticing those things. Wait, where's Lady Glitter Sparkles? Wait, and I'm also missing Madonna. My armadillo and my sheep are gone. Wait. Nande? Where did they go? I was building a barn just for them. Wait. Lady Glitter Sparkles, if you didn't know, is my pink sheep. I had a pink sheep that was very special to me. And then I had an armadillo named Madonna. And the only one that's left is Sir Quacksworth. And also Jojo, who I haven't named yet, but pink sheep. They dead? But I only killed Duckley. Duckley was the only one we had an accident with. Wait. There's no way they just disappear. Is the thing still? It is still there. Oh my god, it's still there. They ran away? Relog in? I haven't been on in a minute, so they might have just died. I don't know, like a mob got to them or something? The whole reason I built this barn was so they would have a how am I gonna find another sheep? I only killed one of them as a wild response. Look, I was making my pathway and Duckley got in the way and I unfortunately smacked him and he died. Sir Quacksworth is on he's on half HP right now. He's got half a heart. Can I feed him? Will that make his health go up? They eat seeds, right? Do I have seeds? Oh, I have a seed. Is this a server? It is. Yes, it's a little VTuber. Wait. What? As long as they aren't dead, they won't despawn, so that's the only explanation. No, they're gone. They're just gone. Wait. I thought she killed the dog. I did kill one dog. Accidentally, though. My little torch. My little baby torch. Big torch? Baby torch. Should I ask, like, Mint or Sky to respawn her? I don't know where... I liked my sheep. Where did she go? You need an instant healing potion to heal your... Really? You did have some of your animals despawn? Not Lady Glitter Sparkles! Oh! But I loved Lady Glitter Sparkles. Do you know what I had to do to get her to my house? It was a whole adventure. Do you know how hard it... Also, this is Strawberry's house. She's got some dragons in there. They won't despawn if they have names. Yeah, they had names. They all had names. And Jojo didn't despawn, and he doesn't have a name card yet. Whoa, what is this? Frog. Oh my god, there's frogs down here. Oh. What? If no one logs in after a while? No! No, my pink sheep! No! I found your secret... I did find your secret frog corner. Oh! Okay, we might have to go on an adventure after I finish the barn today. Maybe... What? Has this tree always been here? Brown mushrooms then? There's no way that's always been there. How am I supposed to... Just throw that down there. Go high and look around? I guess. I have a creature catcher. They're not in my creature catcher, right? No. Okay. What the frick? What the frick, Bian? You can get another sheep and dye it. It's not the same. It's not Lady Glitter Sparkles. Okay, Sir Quacksworth, we're gonna make sure you're safe at least, because if you despawn, I will cry. We're gonna put you in here. Sorry, just stay in there for a second. I just need to make sure you're safe. Is that a Pokeball? Basically. Someone gave it to me. You see the new Minecraft mob? The little ghast, right? The little baby ghast. Okay, Mert, and this is the famous Rert. If you guys have seen my shorts, Rert has gone viral twice now. People love him for some reason. My popular boy. You love the new little ghast? Yeah, he's cute. You were shooketh? Oh, I guess we'll have to... I'm so sad. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. No, they did. I have this stuff on me. I just want to finish building my barn. That's just so cute, but the lore breaks my heart. There's a lore for it? Oh my god. Do I have this on me? I don't. What was the lore? Wait, guys, catch me up. I don't know anything about it. What was the lore? What did I need? Deep slate? Do I have deep slate left? It's depressing. Oh, nor. Oh, nor. I don't know what I want to do with the inside of this barn yet, but I'm just gonna make, like... Honestly, I'm just gonna make little... I don't want to go super detailed. We probably should build a roof, though. Huh? I don't know. I just wanted a safe spot for my aminals. The lore I know is a long journey to get to the pink sheepy, and now it's probably dead. Also, there was an armadillo, but we don't care much about it. The armadillo was a gift, but I'm still sad about the armadillo too. Thankfully, Current is still here. My dragon. Is it not nighttime? It looks like it's nighttime. It dries up sitting next to the gas mom skeletons. It's so... What? That's crazy. Oh my god. I got so sidetracked with my serious conversation because we lost Lady Glitter Sparkles. Got tears. That's so sad. I don't even want to build right now. I just want to look for Lady Glitter Sparkles. I have so much stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the gas cry to keep the babies hydrated. Oh, is that why there's gas tears? It would make sense. It would make sense indeed. I feel like I'm gonna need those in a minute. Oh, I can't believe she's gone. How to get cape? What do you mean by cape? The baby gas are rehydrated with water. Oh, they're used in potion. Yeah. I remember the gas tears you can get. Welcome in, Bugasi. Welcome in. It's like needing to rehydrate those mini dollar store dino pills, but it's with their tears, right? It's with their tears. Okay, I do have deep slate bricks and I have brick slabs. Do I have deep slate? How do you make the deep slate fences? And also, do I have any fences? Spruce fences? Wow, I barely have any. I do not have very many. Spruce, planks, and a stick. Dun, 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 dun. Uneasy alliance, and the wording is that you rescue a ghast from the nether, implying they're not supposed to be there. Interesting. Apparently the ghasts are also always crying because they're stuck in hell, so there's an achievement about taking a ghast to the overworld. It's to save a ghast from the nether and kill it, so it's like you fulfill their last wishes. Wow. That's crazy. The fact that I can't save ghast from the nether now and have them turn happy is gonna kill my heart. No. Which mod pack is this? It's Craftoria, I believe. A Strawberry could probably confirm, but I believe it's Craftoria. We need spruce gates. Let's make... Why can I not make more? I wish you could make multiple at a time. Am I doing this wrong? I don't think I actually need that many though. I'm gonna put this back actually. And then... fence. Actually, how do you make the brick? How do you make the wall? Is it a wall? No. Is it a wall? Oh, it is a wall. Ito polished deep slate. What the fuck, John? Minecraft. So now I'm conflicted if I should forgive them for blowing me up while bridging in hardcore. Wow. Y'all know when you hydrate the ghast, it becomes a little ghast, right? The happy ghast is good, but the little ghast is so cute. We could ride the ghast. That's crazy. It got me fucked all the way up. Oh no. Oh no. That's so sad. But I think what we're doing here... where are we starting from? 2, 1. Starting from over there. Okay. I just want to finish some of this before we go on an adventure, because I will get distracted. So we're doing this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. That seem right? Oh, wrong thing. Bubba's little section of the forest, along with the whimsical builds, has turned out so beautiful. Thank you. I do my very best. Oh, that's one too far. And then we put this here. We put this. Oh, this is just like a tiny little area. I mean, I guess that works. I guess that's fine. I guess that's a-okay. And then this here, we got this. And wait, that's not wide enough. Okay, well, you know what? That's fine. I'm lazy. Oh. I guess that works. It's a teeny tiny little area, but I guess that works for someone. Why does that seem wrong though? Why does that not seem correct?
I guess it works. I think it's fine. A lot of people say that this edition feels like a mod, but in my opinion, it's one of the best because it's something that has a huge connection to the lore. And we'll be getting built-in shaders. I saw that, so you won't have to download your own shaders now, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh, okay, we are one off. Ew, we are one off. Okay. Because this should connect automatically. That shouldn't be doing that. Okay. We need to do a dish. Is the barn still uneven? No, we fixed it. I think. I'm pretty sure. Don't make me overthink now. I think this is supposed to go out like here. Yeah, like so. Which means I should fix this, to be honest. And cover some of this up. Jeez and crackers. This mine over here is not very good to have open like this, but it's fine. Flowers. I can buy myself flowers. Write my name in the sand. What do you guys do though? I'm curious because I was talking about this earlier. What do you guys do when you feel really overwhelmed or you really just need help but you're not entirely sure how to ask for it? What do you guys do? Is there any advice that someone has told you or anything that you've done that you feel like has worked in the past? I'm kind of curious because I'm getting better, but I'm still notoriously bad at asking for help. So I'm kind of curious what other people have done in that instance. Oh, I need another fence. Oh, awkward. Awkward. Fence. And my name in the sand. To myself for hours. Yeah. See things I don't understand. Suffer? No, that's not good either. That's not good. Gotta make sure that you reach out. That I'm kind of curious how people go about doing that. Oopsie daisies. You mean working advice? I was literally about to say. Guys! You might be even worse than me! What the frick, man? You guys are actually worse than me! Stuck to myself for hours, yeah. Write things down and then organize it and plan solutions. Ooh, that's smart. That's really smart. Yeah, honestly, I think it is very helpful to keep some sort of journal as well. I mean, my way of journaling is writing poems. Oopsies. So I do think that is one way to get out my my feelings as well. And I'm getting better about talking to my mother as well because she's obviously, you know, your parents they've experienced a lot more than you, so they can be quite good in terms of asking for help or advice too. So there's also that. Really, I don't know, just deal with it with the mentality it won't kill me, right? That's not a good way of coping with it though. Which is really not a good way of coping with it. Methinks. Actual advice from my therapist: walk barefoot and notice things around you. It makes the problem look small when you don't fixate it. I do that a lot actually. When I'm feeling particularly stifled or a little lost, I will go on walks with my dog. Something I've learned about, actually, maybe I'll read this to you guys. This isn't my writing. This is what someone else had wrote. Because one of the best ways to combat feeling stuck or feeling like helpless is to actually get out of your house, because ruminating in your bedroom is only going to make things worse. So let me read this out to you guys because it really stuck with me. Okay, yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna go inside because this might be a long one, but I really hope that you guys can take away from it what I did, because it really helped me. I cope with humor and telling myself that I'll get better. I've always been better at listening to others than talking about myself. In all seriousness, I take a step back. I don't know if it's considered a negative coping mechanism for me I just don't socialize for a while. I pull back and sort of detach myself so that I have room to focus on what I'm feeling. And I'm hoping to find better answers, and I appreciate what everyone else suggests. Everyone has different ways of coping, for sure. When you feel the problem is smaller, it's easier to reach out. Hey, so I was thinking about stuff. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so let me read to you guys some advice that I read online, and it really stuck with me. So it's called, the title is called 13 Years to Learn, 13 Seconds to Change. Depression loves dark rooms, unmade beds, and endless scrolling. It thrives in silence, isolation, and the comfort of doing nothing. But the moment you step outside, it loses its grip. Sunlight hits your face, your mind resets. A deep breath of fresh air, your soul exhales. You see people moving, grinding, surviving. It reminds you life goes on. The truth? You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need motivation. You just need to get up and walk. So, the reason why this stuck with me is because I do feel like it's quite true. A lot of times, like when I'm really overthinking something and I just keep spiraling and spiraling and spiraling. Thankfully I have a dog that notices things. He's a service dog for a reason. But we get up and go for a walk and suddenly everything feels so much smaller, right? I go outside and I watch the birds and I feel the wind on my face. We see some squirrels. I got really fascinated because there's a lot of bobcats and mountain lions, so I'll see their scat around and I'm like, oh, was this a bobcat? Was this a mountain lion? I find a cool feather and I put it in my wildlife notebook. I press some flowers. All of a sudden, things feel so much better just taking that step outside. Because to be honest, he is barking. To be honest, like, I don't know. Sometimes we stay stuck in our cave for too long and that just makes everything worse. Hey, I need you to stop. I need you to be quiet. It's okay. It's just a lawnmower. My Wi-Fi is really like, want to hear advice? Haha, no. I'm so sorry. But I hope that can help some people the way it helps me because it really did help a lot. And walking in general just moves everything around, you know, your lymphatic system, your blood flow, everything moves around, and that can really help you feel better too. Because when your body is stagnant, your mind ends up being very stagnant. So I do think it's quite important to try to take a little walk a day. That stupid little mental health walk, guys, actually works. Who'd have thought? Who would have thought, right? Hi, Kanzo, welcome in. We're talking about advice to give to people that might feel stuck or like stuck in like a spiral, a mental spiral of some sort. So we're just talking about different things that we do. Lucas Jones has some great poems I like to listen to when I'm stuck. Feels good to know that others have put in word what I felt. Yeah, exactly. One thing that helps me is going on a walk and listening to just soothing nature sounds. Exactly. I'm really blessed to live in a pretty remote area. So every time I go on a walk, I am literally in nature. And so it is really nice to just get out. Mental health walks do really work. It's true. And you know, when your body is healthy, your mind tends to get healthier. That's not always true, but it does certainly help. It does certainly help with the mindset for sure. Can I do the same thing on this side? Do I want to do the same thing? It's kind of, I don't know if I do. Maybe I'll put a little garden back here. Like another little, I don't know, some wheat or something. But I'm not gonna do that right now. We're gonna put, should we put Sir Quacksworth in here? Should we give him a tiny little bit of water? I feel like that's stupid. Who do we put in here? You know what? We can put Jojo in here. Okay. We'll put Jojo in here, but I need to get a name tag. 82 hertz frequency is an interesting way to clear your mind for a sec. Oh my god, that's crazy. When I was younger, walking and listening to music for my next set helped. Exactly. Oh, I love listening to music and vibing outside. Oh my god, just sitting under the trees too and listening to the wind rustle the leaves. That is one of my favorite sounds ever, is the wind and the leaves like rustling. There's something so like soothing about it. So healing. Do I have any? I do. Okay. We'll grab one of these. And we'll name him Jojo. His name is Jojo. After the guy from Horton Hears a Who. I said, you guys know what I'm talking about? I love you. I wasn't quite expecting to hear all of this today and my emotions weren't ready. It feels like the universe is pointing its finger at me. I don't get out a lot, so walks are something I need to try incorporating more. I'm very tired and lazy a lot of the time, so I always have more reasons to stay home than not. I get that, of course. And I always like try to give myself excuses like I'm really tired, I had a bad health day. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm trying to make excuses less because nothing is gonna change if I don't let myself grow. Yeah? Try to separate your work and restroom if possible. For sure. You know what I'm referring to? Yeah, Jojo from Horton Hears a Who. Your body makes habits. If you're in the sleep room the whole day, you'll feel tired, ready to sleep. At the very least, if you don't have the luxury of separating the workroom and the sleep room, at the very least, again, it's important to get that walk. It's important to let your mind escape for a little bit. Are you good, bud? I think you're good. Okay, let's close that and let's close that. All right, Jojo, enjoy your new home. At least you get to wander a little bit. I'll give you things. I don't know what to give him. I don't know what to give him, guys. What do we put in his little... It's so empty. He needs like flowers or something. I don't know. I have flowers. Here. You want a flower, bud? Boop. Here, you have another flower. Boop. Jojo, don't wander. Yeah, I can give him some wheat. I don't have a hoe, but... Okay. At least there's one animal relocated. One animal relocated. Maybe I'll put the sign that Strawberry made me. And I'll put it like... I'll just give him a little sign. Jojo heart. Thank you, Strawberry. Strawberry was the one that gifted me Jojo. Hi, Dadu. Welcome in. Hi. It's been a while since I got to talk to everyone. So we're just talking about how we deal with literal emotions. Hold on. Where does that go? E. Didn't need to write that. E. Where do we put this sign? Can't you make hanging signs? I'm pretty sure you can make hanging signs. What do you need for that? I want to make a hanging sign. I feel like that's cute. Hanging. Oh. What the frick? I need so much. Oh my god. Chains and a bunch of... Maybe we do that in a bit. Normally I'm a bit more able to engage analytically with this topic, but it's not unfair to say I've been in a similar overwhelmed emotional boat recently, so doggone it, but you always seem to be perfectly relatable. I do my best. I just think it's important to recognize, you know, we're all human and we all have our struggles. And it's important to talk about it sometimes, right? Cute frog emote person. It's Radu! Radu is always hanging around. Radu is very cute and sweet. I missed so much in this game. When did chains come? A while ago. That is not a mod, by the way. That is base game. The hanging signs and the chains, that's base game. Some of the stuff is mods. Like, you know, the mage lights and the, I don't know. Some of the other stuff are definitely mods, but the chains are not. For those of you guys that have not been in my Minecraft streams before, this is my house. It took a very long time to build. A very long time to build. But this is my house. I wanted it to look very whimsical, like Howl's Moving Castle type vibes. I don't know if we quite achieved it. It looks more like an Italian house. But, you know. Downloading it again, I guess. Minecraft. I can't do it. Can't do what, Hamudi? You wanna walk? Or... I missed it, sorry. Yeah. I achieved the vibes. Thank you. Hi, Lynn. Welcome in. But part of this topic, too, I do a lot of self-reflection. This is just a normal thing. Speaking of self-reflection, Lynn was one of the ones that kind of helps me. I decided to write a little journal, or a little entry, basically, on stuff that I noticed about myself with self-reflection, right? And not all of it is bad, but definitely there's parts of it that I want to acknowledge because, you know, no one is perfect. So I wanted to acknowledge some things about myself, too, that I feel like I could definitely work on. Let me see if I can't find this journal entry. Self-reflection. I might not say all of it because some of it is personal, but you've literally never played Minecraft? Really? I like Minecraft. It's pretty chill. It's kind of a vibe. I do need to make the inside of the barn. I don't know what I want to do. We love self-exploration? Yeah. Who's been putting all these mage lights down? Who's doing this? Because it wasn't me. Someone has been putting these mage lights down and I don't know who it is. We should reschedule that interview. Yeah, we should. Turned out really good except that single trapdoor. You're still salty about that, huh? You can't even see it! What's the... You can't even... Can I even get up there? Like, you can't even see it. Like, for real. Oh, I bounced off! Fuck. Ow! Okay. Well, that was a... Hold on. Someone in chat was asking about the cape. If you're talking about what I'm wearing, that is an elytra. It's not a cape. And you can get that by going to the end. Luke, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. How are you doing today? Okay. Ooh. It's up here. I don't even know where it is, Hamudi. I'm gonna be honest. You can't even see it when you go up here. Like, you really can't. I don't even know where it is anymore. Is it down here? Could be down here. Last time I self-reflected, my ego grew more than expected. Your ego grew? Dude, I humble myself all the time. Maybe I should try to like praise myself more. Actually, I praise myself quite often. I think we were talked about this in a stream before, where I was like, you know, I've come to terms with the fact that I like to be praised because I didn't get very much of it in childhood. 125 big poggers. 125? I have a legitimate question about whether or not it's overthinking if you're self-reflecting or on not self-reflecting so much that you become too hard on yourself. I don't even know if that makes sense, but like self-reflection is good, but sometimes it's too much and it becomes detrimental. It's always interesting. So the thing is, I don't self-reflect every day. I like to keep it to like once or twice a week when I'm going on my mental health walks, for example, or when I have free time. It's a little bit like yoga or like meditating in a sense. I don't do it every day because then, yeah, that becomes too much and you're just really harsh on yourself all the time. So if I'm gonna self-reflect, I also like to give a positive and a negative because I don't want to be putting myself down too much. Otherwise, again, that's a little too detrimental, right? You just installed a new SSD all by mistake, by myself, but you know what? Crazy. I downplayed myself with some leftovers of imposter syndrome, but now I am ripe and shiny berry. Ego growing noises, let's go! Yeah, so one of the biggest things I've noticed about myself is my hyperfixations. My hyperfixations and stimming can get annoying because I repeat myself often. And I've wondered if other people have noticed this too. Maybe those that tune into a lot of my streams. Sometimes I'll say the same things often. I'll make the same joke. I'll sing the same songs over and over again because that becomes my hyperfixation. And I don't know if it becomes annoying to other people, but I certainly feel like it can be annoying from time to time. What are you doing? Rert, wake up. I know you're awake. Wake up, Rert. Rert, don't you close your eyes at me. Wake up. I saw you. Rert. Hello? Are you okay? Okay, well, I'm sure he'll be fine. Self-reflection is also not a good thing to do when you're in a negative mindset. Exactly. Yeah. You should be careful. I love your stims because they usually line up with mine. Yeah, it's just that sometimes I feel like it can be too much. I laugh a lot at the same joke. If it's funny to me, I'll be laughing, you know? So it just depends. But you know, self-reflection, right? But I think most people that hang out with me now at this point know who I am. I think you know, the friends that I can be really fully myself with are like my safe space, and I'm really grateful for them, right? Like Patat and Brando, my two besties. I don't really care about repeating myself. They know me. They'll do the same thing. They'll be goofy around me. So I don't feel so bad when I'm repeating the same joke or singing the same songs or whatever. Oh my god. Guess who rubbed off on... Oh, he rubbed off on Mert now. First it was Mert, and now it's Mert. Mert, you wanted to be famous, didn't you? You wanted to be famous too, huh? You're copying your brother? I saw that. I love Bubba Stims. Well, that makes me feel a little better too. And that's why it's good to sometimes talk to people about it too. Because it can help ease your mind a little bit, right? It's not a bad thing to do. There's just a time and place. Exactly. That's why I only limit it to like once or twice a week. He's still going. Seb's children. That shit's funny when she laughs so much at the same joke. Yeah. I repeat stories because I forgot who I've told, but if it was funny, I genuinely still find it. Honestly, I don't mind when people repeat stories to me because I'm also a forgetful person, so... And then if they have told me, I'll just be like, yeah, you told me this already, yeah. I wanna be famous. I wanna be shiny. Please tell me someone knows what I'm talking about. Maybe I do. It was a joy to be around, hence why I spend my time here. Well, you guys are all a joy to be around. I'm glad that I could talk about this. I don't notice until I'm watching clips and I'm like, oh, girl, stop. That's why it's so hard for me to edit myself. I've been doing editing for other people and I'm having the time of my life. It's actually quite fun. But the second I have to edit my own videos about myself, I just cringe at myself. I'm like, girl, just stop. Just stop, man. I can make myself like, Mom, I want to be famous. Bub is a funny I do. We love Bub. We stand Bub out. This isn't about me right now. It is 100% why I found an editor. Oh, I did get a little editing job. Oh my god, I'm so happy. It's such a tiny thing, but I did finally get a little editing job, and it makes me really proud because, you know, I think my editing is pretty decent, but the fact that I was able to secure just a little extra something, I'm happy. I'm really happy I can do that. I haven't been able to start yet, but like, yeah. Your singing stems are my singing stems. Everything makes me sing, man, and I won't apologize for that, you know? You came in here, you signed up for that. You signed up for that. Okay, guys. Do we finish the barn or do we look for another sheep? I think I found that sheep in the forest, but I don't know where I'm even gonna find that. I'll be real, I was gonna ask you, but I didn't want to ask you to take on my crap, but you have your own stuff. If you guys want to hire me as an editor, please do. My own stuff? No, it's okay. I don't even know what videos I would want to edit right now. I'm kind of in a slump about my own content, so if other people want to commission me, I'm all for it. Like, I'm shameless plug right here, but if you do want edits and you like my editing style, please commission me. Please. Yeah. Decent, only decent. It's really good. Well, thank you. If you guys do have ideas and you would like to suggest a video that you want me to make for my own content, let me know. I really don't mind. Obviously, I've been putting my VODs up, but if you want to see shorter videos about those VODs, like the repo, for example, I totally can do a video about that. Repo is quite funny. Okay, I have a lead, but I'm wondering if we should take Ducksworth out, Flaxworth out. I'm gonna put him with Jojo for now so that he's safe. But I wonder, so that we can use the creature catcher if we find another sheep. Manifesting this for yourself. You got this, I believe. You got this. Okay, Sir Quacksworth, you're gonna stay with Jojo for just a little bit. Just a little while. We gotta go on an adventure. Writing this down. I'm not the... Okay, I've seen some people do shorts and stuff with, like, crazy edits. My edits are generally more simple. I think I prefer it. It's just easier for me. So again, it's just a matter of whether or not you guys like the editing style too. I feel we'll find the old sheep if we go left from the house. I think they despawned. I don't think any of us have logged on in the past week or two. Maybe Strawberry has, but I think it's definitely been a minute. Actually, I'm pretty sure Mint logged in last week, didn't he? But I feel like... Should I bring a bed? I feel like I need to bring a bed. Hold on. Hold on. Back and forth. Up the stairs we go. This is how you get your leg day. This is me at work. Because my actual work building is kind of small. But I forget things so often that I'm always going up and down the stairs constantly. We do not have a bed. Okay, do we have wool? We do. Put that in there. Put that there. Hold on. I need wood. Log. Wood. Planks? Do you need planks? I think you need planks. Like that? Yes. Panda. Panda bed. Cute. Cute. Alright. Adventure is out there, guys. Adventure is out there. Oh, hold on. My scaffolding should go back into you. Oh, right. Simple does not equal bad. It means that you have chosen and curated your content specifically for your vibe and it works. Yeah. Yeah, I've been slacking. I haven't logged on in like a week and a half. It's like, oh my god, you truly have rubbed off. Oh, you wiggled your head too. Oh, you be wiggling, huh? I wanted to finish the pond as well. See, I have all these little projects I want to do, and I just haven't gotten around to it. I want to finish the pond area so that they can hang out here without escaping. But that means we gotta, like... I don't know. We gotta wall off this entire area or something. I'm not sure. Because I want them to live down there. But I think they can crawl out, so... Sleeping bag? I know what you're talking about, but I don't think we have that in this mod. You going up and down those stairs? Constantly, Brando. Constantly, because I always forget things. Also, I don't know if Strawberry wants to do this, but I think Strawberry and I should collaborate on a build somewhere in this area, because this area looks like a Dr. Seuss area, and I want to build something here. I don't know what, though, but I think it'd be cute. There's a chicken here, but we don't need a chicken. We either need another duck or a sheep, because we need Duckley as well. But I think we're just gonna walk around. I could fly, but I think we're just gonna walk. I also have a portable waypoint, so we can go home whenever we want. Hi, chicken. Hi. This might be too much work for a solo streamer, editor, YouTuber, but an extremely shortened video of the whole VOD would be great. Yeah, but... Come back, come back, come back, come back, come back. Come back, come back. Baby! Come back, come back, come back. Come back, come back. Whoa. Oh, well, I don't want to take your baby. I don't want to take your baby. It has a mother. Okay, I'm sorry. I can't take... If it was just a solo duck, maybe I would have, but it's got a mother. I can't do that. I can't. Just crown hunting while listening to Bub. This is therapeutic. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, question mark. Take the mother. No! I don't have enough to take them both. I only have one creature catcher, unfortunately. That's a regular sheep. But it's not Lady Glitter Sparkles. Oh, 7 Lady Glitter Sparkles. Oh. Oh, that's a gray sheep, but not Lady Glitter Sparkles. This was my goal as well, and OMG, the struggle. The reason, so I'm charging, I don't know if I should say this actually, but let me just say the videos, they're not necessarily cheap. They're not necessarily too expensive. At first when I was charging it, I thought maybe it'd be too expensive, but when you consider editing a VOD, I have to edit a 3 to 4 hour VOD. Basically, I have to scrub the 3 to 4 hour VOD, which means I have to sit through that whole 3 hour VOD again to find things that I want to clip. So already that's 3 to 4 hours spent on it. Then another 3 to 4 hours of actually editing it and making it funny and doing whatever. So overall, those videos take about 8 hours to make. And usually it takes longer because I'm not going to sit like for an entire 8 hours in one sitting. So it usually takes me 2 to 3 days to make those videos. It takes a lot of time, you know? You gotta add in your music, you gotta add in your cuts, you gotta add in all of that. So they're not easy. I've just been a little stuck because I don't know what I want to edit for myself, but it is a lot easier editing for other people, for me personally. I don't know why. People often undercharge rather than overcharge. Run back for the other one. I don't want to take the duck from its mama. I don't want to do that. That's a white sheep. That's another. Oh, a baby! Your head is so big! Why is your head so big and so empty? There's nothing in there. There's nothing in there, baby. There's nothing. Oh! There's so many mamas and their babies here. What is that? That's not my problem, is what that is. Not my problem. I thought it's a pink sheep, but it's a pig. I know, pink sheep are so rare. That's why I'm even more sad about it. Ugh. I think mine is because of a masking. Oh, a donkey. Donkey. They also have a baby. Why do they all have babies? Do I want a donkey? Guys, do we want a donkey for the barn? Skill-wise, I can totally edit. It's fine, but I get zero joy from it anymore. I used to love it and do it for fun. It's not that I don't enjoy it. I just don't know what to edit for myself, you know? It's all right, but I just don't know what to edit. Isn't pink shirt the rarest mod? Yeah, is there a baby season? That's what I'm saying. Hee-haw. Hee-haw. It is quite rare. I know, and she's just gone now, Lady Glitter Sparkles. She's just gone. She was in the frog forest, the mud area. What is this? Is this a mine? I don't want to actually explore the mine right now. Gray sheep, white sheep. There's so many sheep, but not the right ones. Should I go back to the frog forest? That's where she was. Love how you say lady every time. That's because she's a lady. And you must never refer to her as anything but lady. Don't you know how to treat a lady? What if you make a waterfall wall for the pond? It won't ruin the design. I totally can, but I just don't want the turtles escaping. I want them to have a place. And I don't know how to make it so they don't escape. I may just hit you up for more comms, Miss Man. I'm always open. I have basically Monday through Thursday, I don't work. So if I can fill those days with something else to do, I mean, I stream, obviously, and this is part of it. And part of, you know, when people ask the questions about, like, why did you become a streamer? I mean, you know, it's fun. I like to meet people, but at the same time, I'm being a little realistic. It is nice to make a little extra money on the side. I am disabled, so I can't work full time. So it's always nice, right? I used to have a rule of every world I get a donkey, I call him Saeed. Why? Why? I'm head empty right now. What's the correlation, Saeed? You know. Oh, excuse me. No. We're not gonna have a repeat of day 1 on this server. Oh, these are pretty. Oh, that's a lot of pumpkins. Oh, wowza. An egg. Congratulations. It's a boy. Follow your mama. Okay. It's definitely springtime, I'll tell you that much. Oh my god, everyone's having babies. It's nice to have a side hustle, and at the very least, it's something that you can have designated time for. And not feel so useless. Not feel so friggin' useless. And that's a white sheep. White sheep. Oh, I'm hungry. I didn't realize. She might be gone. She might gone where you found her. You think? Can go there. The real question is Bubba merch when? I want to add to my friend merch collection. When my debut happens. And I know I've talked about it a lot. I still can't give it a definitive date. It could be any time, be a month from now, 2 months from now. I don't know. I don't know when it's gonna happen. Rigor-san is still recovering from her surgery, and I don't want to pressure her. I just want her to focus on recovery. So I can't tell you when debut is gonna happen. It will happen. I have everything ready, but I don't know when. But yeah, merch potentially when I debut. I don't know what kind of merch you guys would like. I have something potential, but it would be just like artwork, wallpaper type stuff. I don't know if that's something you guys would want either though. So it really just depends right now. But by giving responsibilities to every animal she meets. Lady Glitter! It's Lady Glitter Sparkles! Wait, it's actually her! Wait, it's actually her! Wait, it's actually her! She even has her name! Oh, holy shit! How did you get this far? She's actually alive! You were so right! Blank was the only one that believed! She's actually alive! Oh, you worried me so much, Lady Glitter Sparkles. I was so worried. I was so sad. Not me about to cry. I was so worried. Are we by Strawberry's house? She just wanted to live in the pink strawberry house, you know? We're actually by Strawberry's house. Oh my god. Does that mean Madonna's somewhere around here? It's gonna be harder to find an armadillo. I can't believe she was here. Why is she here? What the heck? You worried me. You worried me so much. Oh my god. Oh my, let me put her. Ugh. I exist and Lady what? Lady Glitter Sparkles. Do you guys know where Lady Glitter Sparkles is from? Every animal has a reference, except for Madonna. I don't know why she's called Madonna. I forgot. I think Moody said something. And I named her that. Oh my god, welcome in neutral. To be honest, I never believed in that myself. That's crazy. How could you? But we found her anyways, so yippee. Do I have any fences on? I want to put her here. I need to go grab my fences again. Lady wandered off looking for me. She's like, you haven't logged on in so long. I needed to go on an adventure. Where? I heard something else. You're talking about the armadillo. Oh, Lady was in my heart and mind. I see. Oh my god, my eyes. The blue moon needs the... I hope we don't get a red moon. A blood moon. Maybe you could offer a service at some point where you offer advice to others who want to follow in your footsteps. You've come a long way in a short period. You could touch on topics like how to network, as well as how to manage your time. Maybe also talk about your strategies. Oh my god, I do not feel like I'm cool enough to do that. I'm also still quite a baby streamer. But I mean... I don't know if I'd charge for that. That's like being a manager. I myself am personally looking... Lately, I've been looking into... Where did Mert go? Did Mert escape? What? Are you guys like fused together? That's weird. Where's your brother? What? Oh, he's over there. Okay. I've been personally myself been looking into maybe joining a VTuber... Not an agency, just a VTuber group. But I don't know how to get into doing stuff like that. I still feel quite lost myself on how to do any of that. Having a VTuber manager or a little group to join would be amazing. I don't know, I don't know how to get into that. I've been looking on my own, but it's definitely been an experience. We have oak gates. I would rather have a spruce gate. For like the 12th time, Madonna is you missing the name. I suggest Maradona. Oh, but Madonna is better, no? Madonna is better. But if we found Lady Glitter Sparkle, surely we can find Madonna, right? Can always form our own. That's true. That is true. I mean, we basically are there already, right? Okay, Lady Glitter Sparkles. This is your home now. You look, you even have glitter sparkles with you. You even have sparkles with you. Oh, bless. I'm so glad she's safe. So glad she's safe and sound. I need to decorate the inside of this area and put like some wood on the ground or something, but you say she's somewhere near where you found Lady, so she'd be by Strawberry's house. Oh my god, I'm in the wrong area. Follow the pathway, Bubba. Artichoke? Armadillo is so much. Oh, a bee! Look at your fuzzy butt with pollen! A bee! Oh! Also, isn't this so pretty? Strawberry made these pathways. It's so pretty. I love it. A bee! So you're Arab. You know the meaning when someone calls you Yahmar? Yes. I don't know. Someone I know was called Saeed? And you call them hamar? What did they do to you? Why'd you call them hamar? I mean, she was down by the basalt area, but I don't know if Madonna would be here. Armadillos are very difficult to find. I'm not quite as devastated because we've had several armadillos at this point. There's been a lot of armadillo disasters, so I feel like it's only fitting with the lore of this server to have lost my armadillo, but losing glitter sparkles was devastating. Manager Brando does sound nice. No, but like an actual manager to help me manage my schedules, because so many times I've almost double booked for collabs and stuff like that. And like giving me inspiration for video editing and like all of that. Genuinely, it'd be nice to have. And someone that knows how like algorithms work, because I as much as I'm trying on Twitter, I cannot make any headway on Twitter. I'm doing fine on TikTok, on YouTube, on oh, she started her tower, on Twitch, but I cannot seem to get any footing on Twitter. I don't know how it works. So I don't know, man. Oh no, these are buddies. Wow, those are big bunnies. What the frick? Jumbo rabbits. That reminds me of Flemish giant rabbits. I don't know if you guys have heard of those. Madonna just went on tour. Who the frick are you? Is that Brando right there? Excuse me, Brando. Excuse me. Rude. Link, you're okay. The frick, man. Twitter be as controversial as possible, but I don't want to do that. I don't want. I've heard that, you know, like drama really sells, but I don't want to do that. Big bunny. Big bunny. I still kind of want to go on an adventure to find some animals though, like other animals. Shall we go flying? Find a different biome. Oh, she's got a bunch of turtles here. And a hermit crab. But Strawberry's really collecting the animals. Why Twitter? Because VTuber culture, I don't know if you know about VTuber culture, but most VTubers are on Twitter. And that's where you can, that's how I've met a lot of my friends actually, was through Twitter. So it is really good to have some sort of like network on Twitter, just because, you know, that's how you meet people, and that's where a lot of VTubers are. So when it comes to scheduling such, I would volunteer for a service trade, because that's basically what I used to do in film. Yeah, it's not just the scheduling, but scheduling is definitely a part of it. But just overall being able to help me just manage things, need a manager, you know. Ow. Hello, pig. Do we want a pig? Are there any special types of pig other than just like the... they've just got such... Their faces piss me off. Like, their eyes are literally so far apart. Just like chameleon stare. Dead at... Like, I don't want a pig. Chickens are very cute. But I'm trying to look for rare animals, you know? Hi, Clee. Welcome in. Thank you for the alert, Captain Quack. Welcome in as well. If you're not charging for it, then may I ask how you got into collabs? Because honestly, social networking is a mystery. Twitter and reaching out first. As scary as it is, so many people are on the other side waiting for someone to reach out to them. And at a certain point, you kind of just have to go for it. And just reach out first. If there's someone you have a vibe with, honestly, I followed Strawberry on Twitter for a decent amount of time before I actually reached out to her. So I was liking all her posts, commenting on her posts, and then I was like, oh, I kind of vibe with her. And we kind of went that way. What is this? Oh, a waystone. So that's kind of how I do it. I follow people a lot. So I'm like, oh, this person looks cool on Twitch, for example. And then I'll watch a few of their streams, comment on them, get to know them a little bit before I reach out. And then eventually I'll reach out a little more. I don't always. And it's not just for the sake of collabing as well. Sometimes I just want to be friends, you know? I think it's best to be friends first before you even try to collab, right? You got to know that you vibe with someone. You know about Technoblade? I do know about Technoblade. He had the pig with the crown thing, right? I still don't like pigs, I'm sorry. But 07 to him. May he rest in peace. Checking out new people, see what their stuff is like. Yeah, exactly. I lurk a lot. I lurked in so many people's streams before I really ever talked to them. Literally Yams, his streams. We just met him like, what, last week, 2 weeks ago? I was lurking in his streams for a while before I talked even. So that's how, what is this? That's kind of how I do it, if that helps at all. But sometimes you have to be the brave one and talk first. Oh, I'm sorry. Pardon me. I do need a lot more gunpowder. And I don't know where to get it. I don't want to use all of my fireworks, but where the frick are we supposed to get gunpowder other than creepers, you know? Surely someone has. I request for Mint to make a creeper tower, a gunpowder farm, please and thanks. Would like that. Kind of glad I was there for the Brando pack opening, so I found your stream. It's crazy how that works, right? Sometimes you meet people through friends, right? Like, you were friends with Jay, and then we were hanging out there, and then I met you through Jay, right? Kind of cool that way, too. I'm gonna take some sea pickles so I can decorate my little, pond area. You guys are fun people here. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Or makes friends with a serial friender. I made friends with BL, who has an amazing rater for quality people, and now I just have a lifetime subscription to cool people who get the vibe. True, true. How did I meet BL? How did I meet BL? Did I just... Oh, I met her through Sizz. Sizz is that person for me. I met so many people through Sizz, actually. Because he's also kind of a friend magnet. So many cool people are in his streams. I met Sev through Sizz. I met BL through Sizz. And through BL, I met you. So yeah, kind of, yeah. BL made friends with me. I just kind of got adopted. Isn't that how it works? The extroverts always adopt the introverts, right? Met Bubba through a friend, then I lurked in his streams, then I chatted, then boom. Yeah. What is that? Should I jump? No. Bad idea, but I kind of want to. No. Bad idea, Bubba. Don't do that. Maybe we just make a boat. Is that a boat down there? Do I have a boat on me, actually? Hold on. Surely I have a boat on me. Did I bring one? Hats. Diamond. A lot of heads. Magic mirror. Ooh, punchy. Slime ball. What about my other backpack? Oh, I do have a boat. Okay, I have a boat here. Yes. Intrusive thoughts. No, the voice that said jump. The voices! The voices! I have a lot of... Then how would I get it? I still remember Bale showed me you and Sis, and I was like, you have got to see these two sweet beans. Guys, one day I will collab with him. But don't tell him that. One day. That's my 2025 goal. What are these? A kelp? There's something down there too, but I'm afraid to go down there. Join the Discord. Oh, welcome in, Killjoy. One of my mods will get to you in a second. Just make sure that you have your Twitch whispers on so they can send you the link. Howdy, howdy. Voice in the head is never wrong. I haven't ever died. IRL? That's crazy. That's crazy. The guild didn't authorize you to run. The guild authorizes me to do whichever I want, actually. Look at the sunset, guys. Aw, how romantic. We're watching the sunset together. We're gonna go straight for the sun. What are these, though? I'm so curious. The voices aren't real, but man, they sure have good ideas. I mean, some of the voices, maybe. Maybe. The Bubba in my head sure says a lot, though. She sure is loud and noisy. Nosy. Noisy or no? How you doing, Binary Prisma? Welcome in, welcome in. Me when the voice in my head says funny stuff at 3 a.m. We're searching for some rare animals now, because I finished the barn, mostly. I haven't finished the inside. But I did finish the barn, and so now I'm looking for some more rare animals to fill it up with. I don't want, like, big animals, but, like, you know, how we got the pink sheep, and we have the goth cow. I would like some rare, and our duck. I would like some more rare animals. Ooh, look at the stars. Starlight, star bright, the first star I see is your light. Starlight, star bright, the first star I see is your light. Not schizophrenic. I swear, I feel like I spoke with Killjoy in the server. I don't think so. Maybe you spoke to someone. I don't know. Rald, maybe? I don't know. Rald's been hanging out. He's been a homie. Boat. We're not gonna find animals on boats. Should I even bother? I don't really want to get stuff. I don't need stuff. I have too much stuff, actually. But wow, that looks cool, though, doesn't it? Boat. Boat. It could be pirate ships as well. Oh, those are definitely pirate ships. There's a lot of them, though. Jeez. I should probably sleep, right? Is this a forest? It looks kind of funky. Take my boat. How many of you guys So for those that do play Monster Hunter, I just found out that Brando hasn't named his sacred yet. I named my sacred Kevin. And if you know, you know. You know who Kevin is? You are a true berry. Okay. Surely we find a cool animal up here. Boat. Panda bed. I do have a panda bed. I always appreciate getting to talk to you about content creation, Bubba. Everyone here actually tends to have awesome ideas, so I'm noting them all down. Someday I'll make use of them. Yeah, one step at a time, too. You'll figure out what suits you. I don't know what to name it. Bro, why don't you name it Gojo? You have Geto the cat, and you was like, Goto's been ignored. Gojo. Gojo. Why don't you name it Gojo? Make it white with blue eyes. I mean, mine is white with red eyes, I think. Hi, Yums. Welcome in. I was just talking about you, actually. I'm looking for some rare animals. We almost lost Lady Glitter Sparkles. I had a whole meltdown about it, but then we found her. Thankfully, she was alive. You wiggle his butt. So now we're hunting for more rare animals. Where are you? Yeah. I was talking about... People were asking me how I meet, like, so many cool people. And I'm like, gonna be honest, I lurk in a lot of streams until I be like, oh, I like their vibes. And then I chat. And Yams was one of them. By the way, I don't know if you know this. I'm not gonna say who sent me this, but the very first time we raided you, Yams, I got like 5 different DMs being like, damn, his voice, you know how to pick them. And I was like, yeah. So I hope you feel flattered. So many people DM'd me the second I raided you. I was mostly there for the pink hair, but yeah. Brando, what's getting named? His sacred in Monster Hunter. He hasn't named his sacred. I'm sweet. That wasn't me that was saying it. That was the other people. Hello, are you a farmer? He's got a backpack. Can I have your backpack? I want his backpack. I want his... Oh my god, he's got a backpack! That's so cute! Run it. I'm not gonna kill him for his backpack. That's called murder. That's a crime, Brando. What the frick, man? Actually, we can always use some wool and also some iron and some emeralds, sure. I said I wasn't gonna loot things, and here I am looting things. I can't help myself. I'm just a little goblin. What can I say? Shiny. You want a list of anime characters that absolutely should be written? Anyways. Oh, does thou have a mustache? It's me, Mario. He does have a pretty sick mustache. What the frick is all this? Not anything I want to deal with. That is too much technology for me. Stop being a freak. Yes, I do. Gojo! Is Gojo not like... by the way, guys. Okay, so off topic. I'm all over the place today. But, I just started watching Apothecary Diaries. Okay, let me tell you. Gaoshun? Chef's kiss. What a man. What a man. He's tall, he's kind, he's considerate, got an amazing voice. Holy shit, man. Jinshi, step aside. I need Gaoshun. No, not Jinshi. Gaoshun, not Jinshi. Step aside. You guys can have him, sure. Actually, I'm pretty sure Mao Mao wants him at some point. I actually don't know if she likes him, if she ever will, but... No, it's Gaoshun. Put that on the server. Gojo is on the list, bubs. Don't worry. Okay, I like Gojo. He's cool and all. He looks really amazing, but he's not my type. Like, he's pretty. He's definitely eye candy. Oh, hello, baby. But bye-bye, baby. Actually, I'm gonna take these. I can use this to decorate Jojo's area. Oh my god, I was doing so well about being focused on my conversations, and now I'm all over the place. Did you DM BL the same thing? I did about Unwanted Undead Adventurer. About what? About what? No? Question mark? No? I don't think so. That's a pig. You're not cool enough. You want the light novel answer about that? Mao Mao's expressions are very good, yes. How many of you guys have watched Apothecary Diaries? I just started. I think I'm on episode... I started with my best friend, though. Are we on episode? I think we're on episode 6. So, shh, no spoilers. But Mao Mao is so good. She's so cute. Main VA is Gaoshun's. Oh! He's Laxus from Fairy Tail. If you guys have ever watched Fairy Tail, that's why his voice sounded so familiar to me. He's Laxus from Fairy Tail. How do I get inside? What did I pick up? I want... Look at those eyebrows! Look at those! He's wiggling them! Bro has eyebrows! Holy thick! me rizzed up. Oh god, for real, for real. That's crazy. I shall zip my lip. Yeah, but I've been having a lot of fun with it. What animes have you guys been recently watching? Oh, apparently I've been here before. I've already unlocked this. I guess that makes sense. Alright, we keep going. No more distractions. I don't know if I'm going the right way. Don't know where I am anymore. Well, we haven't been up there, so I guess we're still going the right way. Yeah, those thick eyebrows. On God. But yeah, I've been watching Apothecary Diaries, and also Steins Gate. I'm almost finished. I only have 2 episodes left of Steins Gate. Let me tell you guys, I was screaming today. I was actually freaking screaming, crying, throwing up. Horses had to deal with it. I'm almost done, so I'm gonna finish that tonight, I think. And then I've been watching Apothecary Diaries, and a little bit rewatching Nocturne with a friend as well. That's a wolf, but we already have Baklawa. We don't need another wolf. Oh, there's a lot of wolves here. Hello, buds. Oh, I've been here before, for sure. The amount of times the main character has made me say, "This is just Bubba." What do you mean? Which one? Shangri-La Frontier? What do you mean this is Bubba? The character is me, or the character is my type? Black Lagoon and trying to catch up on Black Butler and some Gundam. I've heard good things about Black Lagoon, actually. I've been reading Noblesse, definitely spelled it wrong, and watching Rage of Bahamut. I've heard of Noblesse. Fire Force. Fire Force was good, but the fan service was kind of getting a bit much for me, and it kind of threw me off. But I did really love, was his name Benimaru? Benimaru? I did really love him. Thank you for the check-in. The way he approaches stuff, I'm like, Bubba would do this. Ah, I see. I like to think I'm the pink-haired princess in Apothecary Diaries. I forgot her name. Gyakul, what was her name? I like to think I'm her. She's so pretty. Imagine if I had an outfit like that. If someone draws me in her outfit, I will forever be grateful. Artists, line up. Someone draw me as the pretty girl in Apothecary Diaries. Benimaru, yes, Benimaru. So I got to season 2 of Fire Force. But I wasn't feeling second season, to be honest. Yeah, but it was good. So lovably goofy. Are you calling me goofy? Are you saying yuck? I ain't goofy. What the? Is that a pirate ship? I think that's a pirate ship. We should. Oh, what's up there? Wait, hold on. Nah. We gotta find animals, Bubba. Stay focused. The trees are so thick. Yeah, we were in a forest. Which pretty girl in Apothecary? The pink-haired one. The princess lady that had a child? Gyokyo, yeah. Yeah, her. She's so gorgeous. I aspire to be like her. Sure am, you silly goose. Go hunt them? No. Ooh. I think that's a guardian facility. I am not strong enough for that. Oh my, oh, you can't see it, but like it's massive. Ooh. Me? On God. We can all be pretty girls. It's so funny. Every time I watch streams where the streamer is like super chill and soft-spoken and calm, I'm like, wow, I want to be like that. You pan over to Bubba's stream where she's screaming her head off, trying to survive from a freaking creeper or whatever. Repo, right? The clip I had from Repo, I didn't even know I could scream that high. I wish I could be calm, cool, collected. I want to be ladylike, but I'm not. I think in real life, I act ladylike. I carry myself a bit more, not delicately. If anything, I carry myself too confidently. It intimidates people. But I wish to be like that. I should be more soft-spoken. Shut up, Bubba. Shh.
Do it for you. Kermit.
That's specifically for Link. Link is very long snoot. Am I going the wrong way? No, we're going. Okay, we're exploring. Okay, just keep going down. Southeast. You found out the sound alerts. There's quite a few of them. Enjoy. I miss making a clip of you reciting you were a strong berry. Do you remember which stream it was? I can probably find it. I do. For those of you guys that do post clips, I use a lot of them in my shorts. I really appreciate it. You guys save me many hours of scrubbing VODs. So I do appreciate when you guys do make clips. I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it. I'm very honored if you think I'm funny enough or entertaining enough to clip. I just do one per stream so as not to spam them. The more clips, the better. I'm being so for real. We could find axolotls here. I do think I have one axolotl already, but I can't put him in the pond because he'll just eat all the fish that I have. That looks like a lush island. I could get some bushes though. The bushes are cute. Boat. Boat. The sound alerts, not the clips. Oh. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to just do one per stream. You can do more. What was that? Oh, that was my okay. They're there for a reason. But yeah, maybe not spam them 10 at once. But yeah. Did the throw berries not work? Did it not work? It should have worked. They're on. Minecraft is weird with this stuff. Here you go. I'll give you one for free. I'll give you 2 for free. There you go. Weird. It's because Minecraft is just weird. E. I accidentally typed E. Redstone is red lapis. Redstone is red, lapis is blue. Can I put my Minecraft bed next to you? Oh my goodness, you're so charismatic, the Riz. Welcome in. Avzuj Gap. Can I call you Cap? Welcome in. Did you know that I was torturing a strawberry yesterday for the
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I don't know if I needed to know that, huh? I don't know if I needed to know that actually. I don't know if I needed to know that. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Cap is all right. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. Where did your name come from? Out of curiosity, just because I've not seen a name like that before. How did you guys come up with your usernames? Not just for Cap, actually. I think I've told this story about how I came up with my username, so. Ow. We have like any regular looking azaleas? I used to say azalea, and then I realized that's not how you pronounce it. I do not see any axolotls here. Dutch Netherlands. Oh! Okay, I definitely mispronounced that. My cousin married a man from the Netherlands. And every time he speaks Dutch, I feel like my brain is like malfunctioning. Because it almost sounds English, but it's not. But it's not. We could get some coral. Do I have a bucket on me? Bucket. And I have 3 buckets on me. Yo! Sick. Okay. Do I need water in it before I catch a fish? Huh. I am skinny. Is that the only reason you named yourself Skelly Man? Mine is from No Game No Life plus 13th Friday. Young Blank was a nerd. I'm proud of it. I've heard so much about No Game No Life, but I still have yet to watch it. There's also coral. Ooh, it's pretty. Can I catch fish? Fish. Fish. Oi! Oh, Renz! Renz, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. Welcome in. It's your DJ handle. MC Khan. I love that. I love meeting Dutch people on here. Only people that don't do a double take. Oh, Renz, how was your stream? You're playing Genshin? Welcome in, welcome in. For those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Bubblicious. I'm a strawberry VTuber just doing my very best. And right now, I'm hunting for animals. Well, not actually hunting for them. I'm trying to collect cool animals. I'm a collector. I'm playing some Minecraft. Catching some fish. But how was your stream? How was Genshin? What were you up to? If I see like a... It's so pretty down here. I wish I could make an underwater house. But that seems like so much work. Can I catch this fish? Okay, caught 2 fish. One more. Look how pretty it is. Can you imagine building a house down here? Like a sandy type house? How pretty that would be. I gotta be careful I don't drown. Catch. Got him. No! No!
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Wait, what the
Oh
frick?
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Red grouper. Naruhodo. I see we are sharing the false strawberry propaganda. False? What do you mean? I only speak the truth. Fishy can riz Bubba? What? Fishy. I managed to 80% Enka on my EU account from 0%. Oh, you were grinding. How is that? My IRL initials are RR. I wanted to use the word Rex. Rald came from Emerald. Oh, it came from Emerald? Is that your favorite color? Welcome in, Kishin. Kishin are you from Leany? Is that the same Kishin? The Electro Mans? Welcome in and thank you for the follow. If you get sponges, it won't be that hard. That's true. Maybe that's a future project. I don't know. You just ended work, well, an hour ago. I see. It's just a chill day today. The same Kishin from Leany. Ah, that's cute. I love how she talks about you. Where'd my other fish go? Oh, he's up here. Okay. Oh, no. So I don't think we're gonna find any axolotls down there, but it is really pretty, yeah? The Electro curse is here as well. Actually, I personally really love Electro. Beto is one of my mains. I also have Sino. I also love, well, I want Sethos. He won't bless my account. I really want Sethos. So, yeah. Did you get Furina? I did. It was painful. But I did get her. Oh, it's a jellyfish. They will sting you, guys. Be careful. They actually will sting you in this game. I have to remember I can't breathe underwater. I love your visual pack, though. Underwater looks beautiful. Thank you. It comes with this mod pack. Craftoria, I believe. Let's get some air. I want to be a mermaid. Whoa, what's that? That doesn't seem... Oh god, it's so dark now that it's raining. May the Electroclod bless you and Sethos be in your roster. Yeah, I don't care what anyone says about him. If I do get him, I'm building him as a DPS. He'll be just like Gaming, and my Gaming is cracked. So, yes, I want him very much. Okay, maybe we should get our boat out and keep exploring. Something over here. I don't know what that is. Boat! Boat! I'm going on a trip in my favorite rocket ship. Na, 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 na. I love exploring, so I have become efficient exploring with no guides or compass. Ooh! I love exploring too. That's one of my favorite things to do in Genshin. I don't do the quests. I just run around. I run around, smack things, and explore. I met other users that have roughly the same username. I'm Filipino also. That's so funny. Sethos is strong. He's quite built on your account. He just needs levels. Yes, I want him very much. Her Gaming hits 250k easily. Yeah, my Gaming quacked. My Gaming quacked and crazy. I'm building Rosaria for him, specifically. What is this? This is Minecraft. Is pack pretty? It comes with its own shaders. I usually use complementary shaders, but this pack already came with shaders, so I didn't end up using the complementary shaders. But if you do want good shaders to use that won't really like kill your PC, I've always used complementary shaders, and I think they work really, really well. Yeah. I do not remember this in Minecraft. That's because this is a mod pack. This is called Craftoria, for those that are wondering. Sadly, we gotta do some out-of-the-world quests. Some of the world quests before we explore because some errors. Yeah, I know. I gotta finish Natlin. Well, I say finish. I have to start Natlin. Purina's far better. Oh, true. But I still want to build Rosaria. At this point, we've already leveled 90'd her. You're new to Java. Oh, welcome in. Yeah, this is a whole mod pack. This is a server my friend made. Honestly, they did most of the work. They put the mod pack together. I just downloaded it, and here I am. But it is quite a lot of fun. Ooh, pretty fish. There was an old mod pack I played called Medieval Minecraft. I loved that one. They had dragons, they had sea monsters, which is really crazy. You could have a sea serpent come at you right now, and you got to choose what race you were. So it was kind of like D&D. So I was a feline race, which meant that every time I took no fall damage, which was great. I just jumped from everything. But they had pixies, they had elves, they had like reapers, they had mermaids, they had so many different types. It was really cool, but they all came with their own like strengths and weaknesses. So for example, if you played a mermaid class, you would die if you were out of the water for too long, and you had to like carry around buckets of water like freaking Jack Sparrow or Davy Jones. It was fun. Is this a dead end? Oh, I can go around. Start Natlin. Other than Archon Quest, you're pretty much done. I meant the Archon Quest, yes. You never played Bedrock. You bought Java a week ago. So is this your first time playing Minecraft? I think it surprises people when they find out that I played Minecraft a decent amount. Even though I act like an idiot. I still play it. Almost 3 a.m. now. I'll get my head to Night Night Zone. Have a great stream. Thanks for stopping in, Blake. Have an awesome rest of your night. Night night. I need to take a breath. I feel like I'm talking too quickly today. I can do Animal Crossing language. I'm talking a little too fast. Choose. Be able to fly like an eagle or swim like a dolphin or straight up teleport. Fly. Fly. I always say this. One of my superpowers I would choose if I could pick a superpower is to be able to fly. But specifically, I want wings. I want like angel wings. I think they're so beautiful. And the ability to fly would be so freeing. I am not really afraid of heights. I quite like being up high, so I would choose to be able to fly. Swimming is a close second though, because I'm very fascinated by the ocean. But I would choose to be able to fly. I always die in Minecraft. I kind of suck. Like, and then at rage quit. It takes a little bit of time. I definitely died when I first started the server. And I had nothing on me. I died quite often, actually. I died quite often. I also have a YouTube video of me playing a horror mod pack in Minecraft, and I died a lot in that too. So yeah. If you guys could choose any superpower, what would it be? I think I've asked this question before, but you know, there's new people in chat. So if you guys could pick a favorite superpower, what would it be? My ass is too lazy, I'll just choose teleport. Teleport would be great for laziness, but like, I also want the fun in it, you know? And being able to fly is just... Wouldn't that be such a soothing experience? Off topic, do I get Luna Snow to Lord at first or Invisible Woman? I mean, that is entirely up to you. I don't play either of them. They're like my two least favorite healers. So I don't know. That is up to you, my dude. I could not tell you. You want to have infinite monies? Is that a superpower? That's like Zhongli creating Mora. Boats. Oh, pardon me. I forgot I do that. It's just nerves, guys. I get nervous. What can I say? The ability to talk to women. JK, probably telekinesis. Well, look, you're talking to a woman right now. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's crazy. She's a girl? Oh my god, a girl. Wow. It's a rainbow. It's a rainbow. I'm hurt. I'm sorry. I just don't like their playstyles as much. I do want to learn Invisible Woman just because I think she's, you know, she's just OP for a reason. There's a reason she's played in high ranks. I just got to Plat 1 yesterday. And Brando freaking ranked without me, so now he's diamond without me. How rude. Like, actually, how rude of him. After that whole spiel he went on yesterday when I told me, you better not play without me. You better not play without me. I'm gonna be so mad if you rank up without me. And then he does the same thing. Hypocrite. Hypocrite. Firepower sound fun. Human Torch skill set. Oh, that's true. I'd be worried I'd burn things down. Don't know how Sis does it. I'd worry I'd burn things down. How dare? Right? You betrayed me. Our friendship. You're just a berry in a way I'm talking to a Moroccan woman. I mean, I'm not Moroccan, so I guess... You're right there. Are there penguins in this mod pack, you think? I had a penguin named Kevin as well. Or was it Keith? I don't remember. Kevin has always existed. Thank you for the head pat. I don't see any penguins. Are you older than 2 months? I can confirm. Yes, I am older than 2 months. What's an odd question? Oh wait, they are mod. Haha, joking. Don't ban. How dare. No, you can say it. It's okay. We can point fingers at Brando and tell him he's a hypocrite. How could he? How could he do this to me? That looks like a Beto ship almost, doesn't it? But I'm afraid to go on it. But it looks like a Beto ship. I'm sad to say, I do not think penguins exist in this mod pack. Very sad about this. What the fuck is, they're Moroccan? I swear I didn't write it. Are you sure? It's a Freudian slip. Maybe you were thinking it. I was a fake friend. I'm sorry. Ugh. Fake friend. Fake friend. Also, friends, if you do need to take a break, get some food, get some water, or just go rest. I totally understand. After stream care is very important, but I do appreciate the raid. There's no penguins, guys. How very sad. How very sad. What's that over there? Tree. Don't you cry. I'm the one that should be crying. How dare you? Without me? I'm almost diamond, guys. I'm so close to hitting diamond, but he did it without me. And I feel betrayed. Is this just a tree? There's something special about that. Ooh, a chest. No, oh. No! That's mine. Warp scroll, codex entry. Don't these give you like random... Don't these give you like random... I don't know what these give you, but I know you can activate them for some reason. Hold on. Boop. 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 Don't know what that did, but boop, boop. The water's so reflective and shiny. Like a yacht? Like a yacht? I actually don't have the water textures on this. Complementary shaders will give you better water textures. It looks like real water, but it still looks fine, so it's okay. I was actually just typing that I'm gonna eat out in a bit. Thank you for having us. Have a fun stream and always take care of yourself. Thank you for the raid, Rans. Have an awesome rest of your day or night, depending on the time zone. Bye, Kuya. Pretty sure, doesn't Kuya mean older brother? He told me this. That's why I call him Rens now. Totally not 5 a.m. How many? Oh my god, you guys, and I thought I had a bad sleep schedule. Oh my lord, you guys. Call me Rens. Yes, yes. Yeah, he taught me that. I know one word. Ah, stop that, Link. He doesn't like the lawnmower, guys. He's waged war against the lawnmower. My dad is mowing the lawn. Bro's actually in the Philippines. Yeah. There's quite a few Filipino viewers in my stream, and also like in some of my friends' streams I've noticed, but it's very cute. I think the Philippines is one of my highest viewer average. I found a crab. Ala Carquinos. Hello. I'm gonna leave you though. I'm not gonna grab you. You're not the animal I was looking for. I don't really know what I'm looking for. Just something different. I just woke up and it's 5:33 a.m. Good morning, Haru. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Forced to go to bed at 10 p.m. and ride at 5 a.m. Born to sleep at 3 a.m. and rise at 9 a.m. Honestly, I'm a 9 a.m. person. I wake up most days at 9 a.m. Oh, were those foxes? Those foxes. Oh, but they've got a mama. I can't steal them. They've all got mamas. I can't steal them if they have a mama. But a fox would be cute to have, no? Hello. Yahoo. It's a villager. Don't mind me, just gonna yoink here. Ooh, a belt. 2 charms? What's my current belt? Is my current belt giving you 2 charms or? Huh? 3 charms. I only have 1 belt slot. Never mind then. Never mind. I mean, it's always good to have the belts though. They're really useful. Teleportation. Okay, sorry. Haunting crab. Of a stealing. I'm just charging for my services. Oh, there's a cat. White cat. Oh, if only it was a black cat, I could even marry. But I don't have any fish on me, except for the tropical fish, and you can't use those for cats. I don't think, right? Let's put all these away. We have too much stuff. Okay, okie dokie. Steal the mama and leave them alone? No! No. Sleep in. Yeah, guys, I am definitely not a morning person. I think I am very grumpy in the mornings. Maybe not grumpy, but just... You good, bro? I'm not gonna lie, I thought someone was on the server because they were spamming that door so much. You good? You good, bro? What was I talking about? I completely forgot. He was just... Man was crashing out. He really was. Hello? I completely lost my train of thought. What the frick? That's a lot of sheep. Oh. I was talking about getting a cat. Or a fox, maybe? Oh, I see you've dug yourself a hole, huh? Running shoes. Wait, what is this? Black wool? Oh, black wool. Sure, why not? I like wool. We use wool for a lot. 07 soldier. I was stealing. Oh no, it's illegal. It's not illegal. I'm the hero of this world, so it's free for me. Meat. I don't need that. I like the way that they made this little... That's very cute. Very clever, actually. Steal that idea. There was also raccoons in our old medieval server. I missed that server. I built quite a lot on that too. I made a frog sanctuary and a bee sanctuary and a cute strawberry house. Oh, I do miss that server. We don't have to save for it anymore though. We kind of lost it. I wish I could have shown you guys the stuff that I built in that server though. Even Thanos thought he was a hero until he was defeated. I'm not trying to kill people. Okay. I won't even take the animals from their mothers, okay? Is that a chicken? It's a chicken. 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 A little bit of chicken fried. No beer on a Friday night. Veggies that fit just right. And the radio on. No, 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 no. Oh. There's a house on the water. You love in my woman's eye. Feel the touch of a precious child. I swear I had another question to ask you guys and I forgot. I sometimes, not sometimes. I forget what I was gonna say a lot of the time. Oh! Wait, what? He's got fish here. Is this a fisherman's hut? Oh, he's got salmon. Are the only player on the server? No, I'm not. There's other players, but they're just not here right now. Feel the touch of a precious child. Everyone is sleeping or something. Cooking pot. Emerald, sure. Fish. Should we grab the... Oh! Nice. Can I take this? Oh, oh no, I still have it. Oh! Food! Decorations. Dried kelp block. Killed the fishies? No, they're just chilling. I mean, I guess I could if I wanted the kitty cats. But it's okay. Currently hunted, not crafted, yeah. Hunting, fishing, loving every day. That's a prayer that a country boy prays. Need the fishies to make more sushi plates? I can just fish then. I can just make a fishing rod. I don't have to kill those guys. Fish are out of pumpkins here. Why are they so big? Big pumpkins. The frick? Are we in like a massive pumpkin patch? This is a really good like Halloween town area. I found blueberries. I found blueberries. I don't have I don't have strawberries anymore, sadly. But I did find blueberries. Let's go. Winning. Imagine the reaction of the villager. He's just tending to his own and then a berry woman in armor comes into your house and steals your sushi. It's my sushi. Nom 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 nom. My sushi. Anyone that leaves sushi in front of me, that's their fault, okay? You leave sushi in front of me and you're not protecting it, that's on them, okay? It's not my fault. He left it unprotected. The quest for animals continues. I couldn't catch those foxes, sadly. Fox would have been cute though, right? Another little house here. Ooh, those are pillagers. Abort, abort mission. Abort, abort, abort. See, they're protecting their stuff. Everyone should do that. That was my sushi. You would get a proper fight for it. I would fight for sushi as well. I would fight. Would you guys... Question. Would you guys bite into an entire chunk of raw salmon? You know, the sushi type? Because I've always wanted to bite into a chunk of raw salmon. It's my biggest wish. To bite into a chunk of raw salmon. It looks so delicious. It just feels like it would be so satisfying, right? Yes? You don't eat salmon sushi? Oh, your loss. Freak? I'm not a freak! It would be great! What are those trees? Those are pretty. Those look like Seb trees. I'm not a freak. See, so many people said yes. We left sushi on the dining table once. The sister's dog. Oh, no! They ate it all! Oh, no. I'd be so sad if Link ate, like, my sushi. I would be so sad. Skyrus log. What? That's so pretty. I like the pink leaves. Skyrus log. Should I cut one of these down? I'm gonna cut one of these down. It's really pretty. And we can get some of these. Yes, yes, yes. Pink. Pink tree. We like the pink tree. I do agree to biting it if it was tuna. See? Just biting into a chunk of anything seems so satisfying. You can't really do that with steak because steak is chewy. But if you bit into like a chunk of fish, I feel like that'd be so satisfying. What do you mean, huh? What do you mean, huh? Would you eat extremely tasty sushi but with 40% odds of being poisonous? Like food poisoning? I don't know, man. I already have stomach issues and I've had to go to the hospital for it, so I don't know if I would do that again. I'm tempted to say yes, but I think I would actually say no. Stomach issues are not fun. They are very much not fun. There's a lot of sheep down here. Ain't that pufferfish? But don't they get rid of like the poisonous glands and stuff for pufferfish? I love these little mushrooms are so cute. The urge to bite a bar of soap. Okay, well I can't say I've had that urge necessarily. I can't say I've had that urge, but isn't there like certain things that look like they would be so fun to bite into and they're not actually pleasant at all? I had a cousin once that, you know, the little scoop of butter they put on top of your pancake and it kind of looks like ice cream? My cousin thought it was actually ice cream. So he took the entire scoop of butter and ate it in one bite, and the look on his face when he realized that is in fact an entire scoop of butter and not ice cream. It was very funny. It was very funny. I don't think I would eat an entire chunk of butter, to be honest. I don't think I could do that, but it was very funny. I don't want to explore villages. I want to get some animals. I can't find anything. There are more animals in this world. I know there are. Just can't seem to find any right now. You want to take it to the next level? 13 to 24 hours slow cook, and the moment it hits your mouth, it just melts on its own. Oh, I can literally make steak that melts in your mouth and a 90-year-old could bite. Oh, oh, I want steak. I've been craving it. Black sheep. Hi. Black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, 3 bags full. 1 for the master and 1 for the niece, and 1 for the little girl who lives by the grave. I don't think that's how the song went, but I changed it. Yes. Don't worry about stomach issues. I mean poisonous as straight up GG. Oh, no, I would not. Sorry, I like my life. Sorry, no. What kind of person would? I thought that was a blue sheep. That would have been so cool. Like a light blue sheep. What's this area? Hello. Hello. I mean, they seem friendly. Hello. What an odd little fortress you have here. Hello. I mean, they seem to be vibing. Ever since I found out there's actually a community of people that eat clay, I'm suddenly okay with people eating raw butter. What? Clay? That's crazy. Clay? Wow. I mean, I guess it is edible. It's a mineral, technically, right? But it still seems kind of crazy. I know I'm fast, and I can't have meat until... Oh, fasting until Pascha, but staying just Texas Roadhouse sounds so good. Just had an Argentinian steak today. Made it with mashed peas, like mashed potato, but with pea instead. Wow. Mashed potato with pea. I wonder if that's good. Or just, like, mashed peas. I don't want to... Okay. Anyways, moving on. Asha Clay, I know I had the same reaction. My mom used to make us take calcium tablets when I was younger. And when I was little, I had a really hard time swallowing pills. Like, for some reason, my brain could not wrap its head around swallowing pills. So my mom got me the chewable version. And guys, I don't know if you've ever had to chew calcium tablets, but it is not yummy. It tasted like literal chalk. And I did not like it. Guys, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, do not recommend. It's not pleasant. It is not pleasant, y'all. This is a big tower, actually. Oh, honey! Move like butter, like a criminal under feather. No, 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 da 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 da. No, 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 no. Dip it in honey, it's gonna go down real fast. That's smart. But no, when I was little, my mom just made me chew stuff. Yeah. It was not fun. Didn't like it. Honey though. Honey blocks we can use. I kind of want to make a bee sanctuary now, like I did in my old base. Honey. Campfire. I never had to take calcium bars, but during basic training, the drill sergeants would make us eat these calcium-dense nutrition bars. How is that? Yeah, the calcium tablets are just ugh. They were not good. They were not yummy. No, no, no. Did not like them. But all these away. Honey. Okay, we now have honey. Yippee. Should I unlock this? Sure, I may as well. Which way do we go now? North, maybe? North. North. Yeah, I guess we can go north. We've already been south a decent amount. I'm back from picking up some lunchies. What I missed? We're talking about... What are we talking about? Well, I was talking about how when I was little, I had a really tough time swallowing pills. So my mom used to make me, like, she would always give us... my mother was very obsessed with nutrition, right? So she always made us take a ton of vitamins. But we weren't allowed the gummies, so she would just get us, like, the chewable tablets. And I used to have to take, chewable calcium tablets, and they tasted like actual chalk, and I hated it. So we were just talking about, like, weird things people eat. What'd you get for lunch? Speaking of eating. The good old days of downing a fructose gel for energy between me. I did not like those gels. I'd rather just drink Gatorade, but I had a lot of teammates that would take those gel packets. Bubba said she's healthy but has a hard time. I did not say no such thing. I had to take some fat ass pills. I still struggle, but my solution now is I drink the water first before taking the pill. Like, I fill my mouth up with water and then take the pill, and that seems to, like, trick my brain for some reason. There's always cran raspberry or, like, mocha latte or something. Oh! I remember when I was bulking a ton, I'd have to eat my body weight in protein, so I always ate a lot of protein bars, along with, like, you know, chicken and all that, but... the protein bars, after a certain moment, like, protein shakes and protein bars, you get so used to it, you don't even notice. Got some nummy Thai food. Patsy ew and green curry. Nummy. I don't know if you missed it or not, but she found her sheep. Yeah, Miss Lady Glitter Sparkles was at your house, Strawberry. Thank God. She was just vibing in front. I think she just wanted a more pink area. I don't know. Yeah, she was by your house. And you didn't get me some? Oh. They were hard and chewy and would hurt my teeth. Oh. I wonder if you could have, like, dipped it in milk or water or something. Feel that over? To right. Yeah, she was at your house. I don't know why. We found her, well, not at your house, but kind of close to your house. She was actually in the basalt areas by your house. And I saw the pink sheep, and I thought it was just a random one. And then I saw the name, and it was still Lady Glitter Sparks. And I was like, oh my God, no way. So now I'm just looking for more, like, rare animals. Yeah. 70 kilograms of protein a day? Yeah. It was 50 grams for me. No, 150 grams, I think. A lot of protein, basically. A lot of protein. Glad she's back safe. Yeah, I almost cried when I found her. Pretty sunset, guys. Pretty sunset. The water from our camelbacks didn't help with the toughness. That's unfortunate. You're safe and sound. Sunset time. So relaxing. Sometimes you gotta sit back and enjoy the... Oh! It's not relaxing anymore! It's not relaxing any... It's the freaking blood moon! Okay, we can't sleep. Just when I was talking about it. Oh, it just turned into a horror game. Yippee. We should just stay on the water. Oh, yippee! Not the blood moon in the middle of the ocean. There's no, like, leviathans or anything that can kill us, right? Right? Oh, Lord, it's dark. Oh. Oh, God. Can't see shit. No, I cannot. I feel like I'm literally swimming in blood now. Bring me a beach towel, I'd fall asleep with this lovely moon. It reminds me of the Witcher song. How does the song go? Okay, ready? Was asleep amidst the trees. Hi, sis! Ha. That's all it's swaying.
Ha.
For once while I sing, she's wide awake. Thank you for the sub, sis. How you doing? Oh my God, it's pitch black. It's literally pitch. Fearing all manner of ghouls, hags, and wraiths. My dear Dolly Polly, shut your eyes, lie still, lie silent. Na 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 for the Witcher. I forgot the lyrics. Heart of stone, paid in coin of gold. He'll come, he'll go, leave not behind but heartache and woe. We're stuck in a blood moon right now. It's kind of creepy. Late lunch? I hope you have nummy lunch. Just enough light to see anyone approaching last minute. It's a horror game, guys. This isn't the horror Minecraft. What the frick? Who put the infinite Tsukiyomi Madara? I don't know. That's a coin to the Witcher. That's a coin to your Witcher, a valley of plenty. I don't remember most of that song, but it was a good song. I remember. Is that like a drowned near me? I see it on the map. It's a glow squid. Okay, they're all squids. We should be chilling here. Well, there is a drowned making its way over. Oh, is that an axolotl? It's an axolotl right there. But I don't want to jump in the water when it's so dark. We need to give you a small guitar and get you an in. You would make a great bard. Thank you. I don't know how to play any instrument. Oh my god. Beware, beware, the dragonborn comes. I think that's the only bard song I know. I do sing a lot, yes. Where did that axolotl go? Don't worry, guitar is just for the looks. You just need to move it left and right. Ding ding. Ding ding. Is that how you play guitar? What am I standing on top of? There's like this whole like fortress I'm sitting above. I feel like this is not smart. We should just keep going, right? There's also land up ahead. They don't get your Naruto reference. I have not watched Naruto, I'm sorry. Oh, I went the wrong way. That's not how you sing the Crazy Frog song. Ragnar the Red? How does that go? I'd have to look it up. I'd have to look up the lyrics. I feel like there's only a few songs I know by heart. Like, Part of Your World, I've seen that way too much. I See Red, my revenge song, you know? Like, well, also, I dug my keys into the side of his pretty little suit of four-wheel drive. Carved my name into his leather seats. Are you a sing when you're scared kind of person? I absolutely am. I don't know if you saw the repo stream, Strawberry. I was singing. Everyone died and I was the only one left, and so I was singing to myself. But at one point, I like got really quiet because I was so scared. And Lynn put in my chat. She was like, everyone sing for Bubba. She needs to sing to be brave. And so she started typing out chicken fried, a little bit of chicken fried. I started singing it. So when I watched their POVs, because they were all watching me, I was the only one alive. I watched their POVs and it's just me singing chicken fried while being chased by monsters, and it was so freaking funny. Oh, there once was a hero named Ragnar the Red who came riding from White One. Who came riding to a White One from Old Rorikstead. Yeah. I sing a lot. Strawberry mentioned singing stems, and now I want to sing like a ton. Now I just want to sing. Oh, hold on, my eyeball is itchy. Wait, did you say he's having lunch now? It's like almost 3 p.m. Oh, that's a really late lunch. Everyone who is working hard, make sure to take care of yourself, alright? Oh, those boats look so creepy in the blood moon. I should put on creepy music, but I don't want to. You wouldn't survive a horror movie, you would get scared to sing so the killer would know where you are at all times. No, I could. In real life, I'm a lot more brave. But in video games, it's scary because you don't know if you can take care of yourself. You know? I don't want to go on land yet because there's monsters on the land. Wow, wait a minute. That was a lot of chickens and sheep and cows. Huh. Oh, we've been here already. Oh, well, let's just go west. Wow, am I spinning in circles right now? Hello? Okay, west. I can't see anything. I'm so discombobulated. I slept for 20 minutes and had a dream, and I feel y'all are crazy enough to appreciate it. It's a small one, so I was a tree. I don't know which kind, and they made me a chair, and time passed. I grew old and became an armchair. The voices in the head are extra funny. Night again. Good night, Blank. What a dream. What a dream. That's strange. Wouldn't it be the opposite usually? No, in real life, I'm a lot more brave. But that's because I can take care of myself in real life. I know I can defend myself pretty well. I know in real life, scary threats would be trying to switch cheats. I maybe misspelled that, but never added shell. Yeah, exactly. You can take care of yourself. Oh! think we should go around. Yeah, I think we should go around, guys. Guys, I think we should go around. Let's go around. I don't think we should, wow. Blood moon. That ship looks hella good. It does, but I think it's a pirate ship. It's part of the mod pack, and I think we will die if we go on there. So let's not do that. Let's not. It reminds me of the Treasure Planet ship, though. Oh, I love Treasure Planet so much. Maybe they have a rare parrot on board. No, it is dangerous though, and I'm just a little guy. You know, I'm. Oh, I forgot I have spells. Haze. Let's cast haze. How the frick do I cast my spell again? How do I cast my... Is it C? It's not V. How do I cast my spell? Oh my god, I forgot how to cast my spells. Q? No. E? No. T? No. Oh, T. U? No. R is... How do I cast my spells? I thought it was V, but V is... That's fine. It's fine. Who cares anyways? It's fine. I forgot. There's a wizard joke in here somewhere. Somewhere. Over the rainbow. I guess we can go back to land now that the blood moon is ending. Thank God, actually. Lord. I wish I could hold shift and scroll my shape IRL. Was that your superpower then? I asked earlier what would your superpower be? Would you be a shapeshifter? I feel like it'd be too indecisive to be a shapeshifter, you know? Like, I wouldn't be able to decide what I wanted to be that day. And I would just do, like, simple things. I feel like I'd be way too indecisive. Oh, okay. B. Okay. I'm the wizard. You're a wizard, Harry. Nope. That's not your superpower? Oh. Did I hear lava? I swear I heard lava. So far, no animals found. We just need one. We just need one. Ooh. Oh, hello. The undead begin to burn. Burn! Burn, baby, burn. I got a horse too, but I already have a horse. I don't know what my spellcasting thing is. It used to be V, but now V is voice chat. So what the frick? How do I cast my spells? I'd have to go to my keybinds, and I'm way too lazy for that. I don't even need to use my horse anymore because I'm so fast. I'm speed. Deja vu. Da, 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 da. If we could find another different colored sheep, that'd be cool too. Because I want to find it though. I don't want to make it because I know you can just dye them, but I don't want to. What about horse? My superpower would be to not only grant other people's wishes, it would be to grant other people's wishes but not my own. So when my future ex-wives would have period cramps, I could just make them disappear. Why is it ex-wife? I still don't know the lore behind that to me. What is the lore behind your future ex-wife though? What's the lore behind that? It reset a while ago. I forgot the hotkeys. Yeah, I'll need to go figure them out, but I'm lazy right now. I'd be mundane with shapeshifting, forgot my keys, just let my finger... That's interesting. Does that kind of shapeshifting though? Isn't that more like elasticity? Does that count? I love to run free. We're soaring. We're breaking free. Ah, yeah. There's not another plan. I never watched High School Musical, so that's the only part I know. Wee! 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 Maybe one way you find out. What does that mean? She Newman. I'm Newman! Wee! Pyrokinesis would be a sick power. So what I'm learning... Hold on. What I'm learning is a lot of you guys want fire powers. Oh, that was a pig. I thought it was another pink sheep. So, true campers for real. You guys all want the fire powers. Genie has to grant wishes. I would choose if I grant them or not, and theirs unlimited. If you guys could have one wish granted by a genie. If you guys could have one wish granted, what would it be? And don't be like clever with it and be like, I would wish for more wishes. No. Like, what would it actually be? If you only had one shot. I didn't mean to do that. Let's take this out. Short grass ferns. Okay. Wow. So cool. So mysterious. Wait, are these glowstones? I'll take the blessings. Anything for building is great. Oh, gunpowder! I do need gunpowder. I'm very tempted. I think Mint is streaming Minecraft one of these days. I'm tempted to ask him if he can make a gunpowder farm. I would like one, Mint. Please and thank you. So imagine I know what someone wants and I can send them on a quest. At the end of it, they get their wish granted, so it feels rewarding. Oh, I see. To grant all my wishes. Your wish would be to grant all your wishes? Interesting. Truly, honestly, human needs for everyone all met, so we could all just freaking chill. That's a very sweet wish. I feel like mine's very selfish now that I read yours. To grant all your wishes, yeah, that would make sense. Really clever. I would never ask for a wish. It'll make me want to get more and make me perhaps regret things. Oh, interesting. That's a good one. If I could get any wish granted right now, it'd be for Bubba to be wearing a Christmas outfit. I'm not wearing a Christmas outfit. I never will. Oh, fuck you. Actually, I did wear one for Christmas. I'm not wearing one again. How dare you? Oh, I like the sound of the snow. Oh, little guy. Oh my god. Can I put you in the thingy? Can I put you in the thingy? Oh, no, I can't. Imagine if I could, though. He's so cute. Just a little guy. Just a little guy. I didn't know it's Christmas today. I'm not wearing a Christmas outfit. You take that back. Take that back. I'm strawberry themed. Not wearing it. Ow. Should be able to? Wait, really? Where'd he go? What would be your one wish? Well, my wish kind of sounds selfish now that I'm hearing all your guys' wishes. No, it doesn't let me, Strawberry. That means it's Christmas? No! It's not Christmas. My wish would be, honestly, it's kind of a selfish wish, but I'm such a perfectionist. I think my wish would be to be talented at everything that I do. Like, you know, be a really good singer, be a really good editor, be really good at sports, I just want to be good at everything. That's such a selfish wish, I know, but I think that's what mine would be. I'm such a perfectionist, you know? Just a thought, maybe people think you're wearing Christmas because the top is mostly white. And that's why I'm having a 3.0, honestly. Not the only reason, but it's definitely a reason. Such a real wish, though. Yeah. I'm tired of feeling inadequate. I want to be good. I want to be good at things that I do, you know? Everyone around me is so talented. I want to be super talented at everything. Truly wish I could be a pro at all my hobbies, right? Yeah, it's like everything that I try, I want to be good at. And I am practicing singing a lot, but I want to be better. I hear people with these crazy vibratos, and that's something I struggle with. I don't have like the natural vibrato. So I kind of have to like train myself with it. So I'm like, people that can do that vibrato, you are so lucky. Don't take it for granted because I don't have that. I have a very like clear voice, which is a thing on its own as well. It's not a bad thing to have, but you know, that would be my wish, basically. At this point, we're just running around. We're doing like a exploration Zatsu at this point because I'm not finding animals that I want, but it's okay. I feel like you would regret that wish really fast. Imagine nothing ever in your life is hard because anything you pick up, you're instantly good at. That's true, but I don't know if I'd regret it. There's other things I'd want to do. Because being good at something doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna be famous for it or gonna like, it just means it makes your life a little easier. And God knows I've already had a rough life, so maybe I just want my life to be a little easier, you know? Maybe I'm tired of struggling. This area is interesting. I've never seen this kind of biome before. Stony Shore? Interesting. I'm already talented at everything I do. Wallows and self-loading. No. What's something, guys? Did that ship run into the mountain? Do you think there's bad guys on this ship? Pick up my sword just in case. Ignore the boings. Boing, boing. I can't see! Fuck! What? Oh! Oh! Am I under ice? Oh, fuck. can't see. How long does this last? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Turns out, guys, there's bad guys on the ship. See, this is why we don't go on the ship. I like your voice a laugh. It's soft and feels warm and a kind and caring way. Really? I feel like I sound like a tomboy, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I forgot what I was talking about. I got so panicked. It's the worst that could happen. I die carrying all this stuff. No, I do not want to die. I have too much stuff on me. Okay, anyways, let's not go on that ship. What was I talking about? Oh my god, I panic. It's like, it's in the mountains. Surely it'd be sunken. Why would there be people on that? What is this? You're about to ask us something? I forgot what I was gonna ask. Ugh. He listens to my streams to eat, to sleep. No, I'm way too chaotic for that. There's no way you guys can sleep to my streams. I'm screaming so much. Wee. You don't sound close to a tomboy at all. Quite feminine and delicate. Really? Well, thanks. I appreciate it. What are these? Tomatoes? Tomato crate? Potatoes and molasses. Oh, let me go down. Bubba bro. I am just a bro. Just a bro. Onions. Tomatoes. There's not really much in here. Oh, no. Can we get down? Yep. Nope. Can we get down? Oh, yep. There we go. They're so much better than algebra classes. Oh my god, you know it! Oh, potatoes and molasses. They're so much better than algebra classes. They're warm and light like... hold on. Should I pull up the lyrics? Do you want me to sing the song? Hold on. No, actually, I'll just play it for you. No, I'll sing it. I can't make up my mind. Potatoes and molasses. All right. Okay. Oh, potatoes and molasses. If you want some, oh, just ask us. They're warm and soft like puppies and socks, filled with cream and candy rocks. Oh, potatoes and molasses. They're so much sweeter than algebra classes. Your stomach is grumbling and your mouth starts mumbling. There's only one thing to keep your brain from crumbling. Oh, potatoes and molasses. If you can't see 'em, put on your glasses. They're shiny and large like a fisherman's barge. You know you've eaten enough when you start seeing stars. Oh, potatoes and molasses. It's the only thing left on your tasks. They're short and stout. They make everyone shout. For potatoes and molasses. For potatoes and molasses. I love that song. Ling, why are you grumbling back there? What? What's up, mister? What's up? Are you grumbling? Did you guys like it? The good old taters and lasses. Yeah. Potatoes and molasses. You have the voice of a British man who found glittery unicorn on Thursday morning. I don't know, making stuff up. I don't know what that means, but thank you, question mark. Thank you. Is that a little wolf? 1-1. Ah! Hi, 1-1. Hi. Oh, you gave me a side eye. 1-1. Should I take him? Is this our quest? To bring home the wolf? No, come back. I don't have a bone. Oh, there's another wolf. There's a lot of wolves. A baby? He's not that rare. Oh, do you want to go outside? Speaking of wolf. Go outside. Go outside. You're now part of the wolf pack. Awoo! Do you guys know that one video of the husky where the doorbell rings and the owner is like, don't bark right now, and the husky holds back for a second and then he's like, woof. And it's so good. They just do a woof. A woof. Don't a woo. Woof. Yeah, I love that one. I'm planning on making a kennel and a dragon den. I saw you started your tower. I was saying, you know the area by my house that looks like the Dr. Seuss area? I think it would be fun to do like a little collab build there, you and I together in the little Dr. Seuss garden area. I just want one animal, one rare animal. That'd be so great. Just give me one cool animal, please. Please, onegaishimasu. I just want one cool animal. Strawberry found the goth cow. Surely I can find something. And the big bunnies. How do you find cool animals? I want to find a cool animal. That was hilarious. Thanks. The woof is very funny, yes. This is as good as the cat switching personality the moment they put a Batman mask on top of her. Have you ever seen that one cat with the super deep meow? It's like, whoa. Whoa, this is Jack. It's got a little bit of a deep voice. Whoa. Concentrate surrounding heat precisely into the relic bearer's tool. Interesting. Lucky scarf. Lighter scarf. Did you take the furthest waypoint? No. Furthest waypoint. What? I have questions. The villager kids, I don't know if I like, don't know if I like how they look. The owner of that cat must have a really deep voice too. I think just, like, cause my cat, before she passed, she had, like, chronic bronchitis, so her vocal cords were permanently damaged, and she had a very croaky mouth. She sounded like a frog. She was like, wah, wah, wah. That's how she meowed. She just like, wah. So, I mean, yeah. You don't touch the villagers, kids. Yeah, they kind of freak me out a little. Furthest waypoint. What do you mean by that? Furthest waypoint. Is that where you find the cool animals? I've just been running around non-stop trying to find cool things. Hope she didn't suffer too much because of it. She passed away from a heart issue, not from that. She was on meds and stuff. I took good care of her, but it was my best friend though. I really miss her, but she's in a better place now. She was quite young. I mean, she was only 10 when she passed, but yeah, she had a heart issue. She was tiny too. She was only like 5 pounds, you know, at 10 years old. And she was missing an ear and missing her tail. So she had a little pom-pom tail and only one ear. When we rescued her, she'd been through a lot, basically. Isn't 10 old for a cat? Most cats live to like 15, 17 years old. So 10 is kind of young. We get to a waypoint. There's one that I made that's called Near the Goth Boys. You have to go out for new chunks for the new rare Near the Goth. I don't need a... I'm so cool. I have a warp stone. Okay, so... Wait, but don't I need to discover that? Don't I need to discover that waystone? To actually go there? Gotta go see y'all. Thanks for stopping in, Jacko. I was away for 1 week on vacation. Our family cat didn't want to cuddle with anyone, so I was quite worried. Oh. Yeah, sometimes they just need a little time. Do you know the coordinates for it? I'm going to new chunks, but I don't know like how new. Like, look how far I've explored. Look at my little circles. I've been going all over the place. Look at me. Look at me go. Don't pets live too little to be pets? They live a decent amount of years, so not really. It's far. Completed a hunt in 1:30. That's crazy. Who are you hunting? Oh, there's a waystone here. Japanese castle thing. Mangrove swamp. Oh, actually, I'm going like down here, maybe? Shall we go south? Never eat soggy. Southwest, maybe? Maybe we should just go southwest. Make our way southwest. Hopefully we'll find something. Chunk just remind me of Motomoto. Look out. I think Motomoto likes you. I like them big. I like them chunky. Stupid. I like them round. And something. Looking through your screenshots. Watch you. Well, good thing we can run quite fast. You're priceless. Motomoto. Yeah, I wish some people do like the more impressions so well. I'm like, damn, I wish I could do that. I'm gonna run out of fireworks. I'm not, but like, I'm so afraid to actually run out. I'm gonna be so sad. I'm literally crying here from laughter. That I've done my job. You're welcome. You have the best Mort impression. Oh, King Julian! What does Mort say? I can try, but I think I do Julia impression better. How long is this going to take? I say that a lot. That's one of my vocal stims, I think. I say that way too much. Hello. You can do his impression walking out of the... Whoa! I'm in oil! Oh my god. Shut down oil corporations. How dare they? Let me out. Ugh. Rude. Rude. Oh, King Julian. Let's... Eh? I don't want to say that, actually. I don't want to say that one. That one, no. Says this? Getting oiled up on stream. Oi! I got a decent SpongeBob. I learned how to do the laugh while watching Nickelodeon back at it. Oh, I could not do SpongeBob at all. I don't think I could... I don't think I could do anyone in SpongeBob, to be honest. Oil? Not the Eagles! America, how much is a kilometer? Oh my god. Wee. His VA literally rapidly taps his throat to do it. Really? Oh my god. Oh my god, do you hear my little footsteps? Tippity tap. Ah! That's water. Hold on. Hold on. Let me put my... Oh, excuse me. Let me put my boat and just... Wait. What am I stuck on? Oh, I can't see. Oh my gosh, it's dark in here. Kind of cool though, but it's dark. I'm just going southwest because that's where I haven't discovered any chunks. So. Oh, I don't know what that was. That sounded freaky. Eagle screech. Caw-caw. I learned how to do the Mr. Krabs laugh after Weeba couldn't do it. Dude, Claude does the Mr. Krabs laugh 24/7. He does it so often. He does that and then he goes and then he does it's Friday in California. Yeah, he does a lot of those. But he does the Mr. Krabs laugh like crazy. Time to introduce freedom to Craft Oreo. Rah! Crazy. Crazy. Oh, pardon me. My boat. My boat. My boat. My boat. Okay, I got it. Yeah. Time to run. Wee. What the fuck is a kilometer? What are your guys' favorite vocal impressions to do? I know some of you guys already said, but what do you guys think you're the most confident in for impressions? I never used to think I was very good at them, but I still do my best, at least to make people laugh. Oh, it's a strawberry! Strawberry, are you at work or are you just chilling? Ugh, I hate having to jump up things. I can't run free. I know exactly which one you're talking about. I can't do it well, but oh my god, that was so funny. She goes like, oh, or something. You're chilling? Got you, got you. Hey, I'm not the only one on the server. Yippee! I can say hello, Markiplier here. Oh, she's gone. No. I like hearing the pitter patter of my feet as I run. It's very satisfying. Biddy tappity. Me and my brother Igor like to drink vodka for pleasure. Trigger from my budget Russian act. Wait, is your brother actually named Igor? Because that's a sick name. Yippee! Oh! What's this place? Is this a... Wait, what is this? The frick? What? Is this a village? This is the coolest village I've ever seen. Hello? Look at this village, guys. What? Wow, these guys are living the life. Oh my god. What a pretty village. Look at these doors. Skyrus doors. It's so pretty. Wow. You know that extremely fast bird and the wolf who's trying to eat him? I can do an impression of that bird. Beep, beep. Oh, the Roadrunner. Roadrunner and Coyote, right? Yeah, I know that one. Meep, meep. I don't know. It's so hard for me to decide, like, any good impressions that I can do. Rather, I feel like I should ask you guys what you think suits my voice. You guys think of any impressions that I could do? Get out. I'm sleeping here. It crashed? Oh no. There was a little update with the launcher. Maybe that's why? This is really cute though. This is a very cute area, I must say. We're still supposed to go southwest though. So imagine your brother that lives in a small wooden hut somewhere in the winter plains of Russia, walking into my house with a massive fur coat and a bottle in hand. Batman or Venom? I'm Batman. Every time I do Batman, I think I sound like Smeagol though. I'm Batman. I am the night. I can't go that deep. It will hurt my voice. I can't do that. Wee. Venom is just wee. Ow. Hot take, but I think with a bit of practice, you can mimic Darwin. Darwin? From, like, The Amazing World of Gumball? Or... No, you guys gotta give me, like realistic ones that my voice can manage. Oh my god. My voice can't handle that. Darwin. Can you do Jeff noises? No. I'm in. Welcome in, Strawberry. Yippee! Yippee! She's gonna check the chords. Okay. I'm blanking on character names. Sorry. No, you're good. I sing the Ariel song quite well, I think. I think I sound similar to her, maybe. Or maybe I'm just tooting my own horn. Like, if I had to compare what my voice sounds the most similar to, I would say Ariel, personally. But I could just be tooting my own horn. Was that a skeleton? Interesting. I see Strawberry's little head on the map. That's so cute. And my mini map. That's cute. Oh, I love this song. But yeah, I've never really thought of myself as being a good, like, voice actor or something. I don't think... I'm not confident enough yet. I would like to practice more, but I don't think I'm not quite there in terms of being a voice actor. But I do want to get better, at least, of doing, like, impressions or something. Strawberry's gonna give me the coordinates, and I'm gonna be going the completely wrong direction. Just wait. You do have the skill, a few more years and you'll have the confidence. True, that's true. Oh, minus 1600. Oh, I'm actually kind of going the right way. Minus 16,000? I mean, we are going the right way, but oh goodness gracious. It's so far. Well, we are chilling in stream, so... Who was it? Brando does a really good impression of, who was it? Brenda, you do a really good impression of a few characters, but I'm blanking right now. Zen Nicholas, welcome in. How you doing? What are the most famous characters you can... That's the thing. I don't know. I've not really tried to do impressions much. So I do it like goof and all, but I'm not that good at them. So I know I do. But which one? Just call you Zenny? Okay. Welcome in, Zenny. How you doing? We're talking about impressions. Like what voice impressions do you think that you're the most like confident in? Brenda does a really good impression of Doctor Strange. Oh, someone redeem it right now. Someone redeem it. Brenda's impression of Doctor Strange. I'm waiting. You baked muffins? Ooh, yummy. What kind of muffins? Going back to watching and finishing your lunch. Thank you, Strobs. There you go. Priceless, isn't it? So classic. Thank you, Vency. Your voice can definitely do Pikachu. Pikachu. No, that's not right. Hold on. How does Pikachu? Pika. No, wait. Pikachu. I can't do that. Vanilla with chocolate chips. That sounds so yummy. I want the smallest eye of Akamoto. By the eye of Akamoto. Pikachu. Maybe playing Supermarket Sim, but I'm lurking. I hope you're having fun, Vency. Thanks for the lurk. Pikachu. Pika. How goes the mining? Jay has been summoned by the Pika. That's crazy. Hi, Jay. Welcome in. Pikachu. I can't. I'd have to listen to it. Yeah, that's crazy. Jay got summoned by the Pikachu. Pikachu. You guys just making me say this on purpose, huh? You like doing the Deepa Pikachu? Pika. Pika. I can't go that high. I don't think. Pikachu? What are you guys making me say right now? I feel like an idiot. I feel like an idiot. You already made your ringtone? Stop. You have to pay for that. Stop. It's the gigantified version. Pika. That's crazy. The tone of the ka is curved a bit. Pika pika these. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. Pikachu. Oh my god. Gigantamax, sorry, I must correct myself. That was so said it. I gave up. You would be a great Peter. Peter. Wait, how did she say it? Oh, you meant Peter, actually. I thought you were talking about Louise. Lois. Pika pika these.
おや
I'm
Oh, yeah,
crying.
Oh, yeah,
No,
oh, yeah,
no,
oh, yeah.
don't cry. Grab a tissue. Zenny, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. No, wait, do that Lois again. Pina. Wait, but I don't know what she says. I don't actually like Family Guy. I really actually don't like it at all, but my brothers watch it, so... That Pika D's got you a follow. Pika Pika D's not. Lois? Yeah, from Family Guy. Pina, did you leave your pants on the couch again? How does she... I can't do that very well. I'd have to practice, but I think I could do her potentially. This is so cursed. Yeah, I was supposed to be asking you guys about your impressions, not mine. Man. The voice is right, but the accent is wrong. Yeah. I have to listen to her a few times, but she's got like a, what, Boston accent or something? Jeez. You see that down there? What's that over there? Oh my god. Pina? Yeah, it's like a, I think it's supposed to be like a Boston accent, right? East Coast accent. We're still going the right way. Like minus 16,000. So we're definitely still going the right way. But good lord. You do a good Bubba impression? Brando just goes, what the hell? What the frig? Or he'll do, what's good, bro? What's good, big dog? You can do a Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Oh, wait. You too, or was it just you that said that? Freak. What the hell, man? Wait, you better nail this one. Do Yachi? Yachi. Wait, Yachi from who? From where? A platypus? Betty the platypus! Yo, we can all do a Doofenshmirtz. Yeah, I don't think I could though. I'm about to fight y'all. Square up. Oh, we're in a dark forest now. Oak forest. Dark forest. Oh, it's the same thing, I guess. These almost look like strawberries. I'm still upset that our strawberries have disappeared. We used to be able to plant strawberries and it's gone now. Oh. Hello, sir. I'm not trying to bother you. Mind your, I'm gonna mind my business. You mind yours. Black sheep. Ooh! Black sheep. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Ow! Ow! It's fine. We're good. I made it out, guys. Yippee! Yippee! We have made it to the water once again. What is that? Oh! We bounced a little too far. Does singing the Perry the Platypus theme count as an impression? Wait. H and P. I haven't listened to it in a very long time. Hold on. She goes like, Bubba, who would win the 1v1? Brando or you? Me, huh? Is that even a question? BRB, thanks for the lurk. Do you know Candace? Like, Candace the... Never mind. It's a semi-aquatic, egg-laying mammal of action. I don't remember the song very well. The blonde manager from Haikyuu. You think I could do Yachi? I thought that's what you meant, but I wasn't sure if you're talking about Haikyuu. She goes, wait! When she gets spooked. But she's like... Are you talking about Japanese version? Candies, I already tease nuts you first. It doesn't work. You did not Candies nuts, chat? Yeah. There's 104 days of summer vacation, and school comes along just to end it. So the annual problem for... I keep forgetting how it goes. For... How does it go again? It's finding a good way to spend it. Like me. For our generation, thank you. You like singing? I sing a lot. Welcome in. You can do English or Japanese, the one you think is easier. I have to think about what she says. All I can think of is Tanaka going, Kyoko-chan. She has a cover? I do. If you do exclamation point new song, you can see the cover. I did with Sev, my lovely, lovely friendo. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yards, and they're like, it's better than yours, you damn right. I love that one meme where it's like me versus my 3 followers, and it's just like that one milkshake. I love that one. It's so funny. It's so dark again. Is there anywhere I can land so I can put my bed down so I can sleep so I can freaking see? It's very dark. Ew. Oh. Okay, let's just go around. Why did they put E and R so close in the keyboard? Like and subscribe. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Is this land over here? Ugh. It's so hard to see. Blech. Oh, pardon me. Oh, wait. Strawberry's on. Does she have to sleep too? No, we're good. Okay. Yippee. The amount of innuendos in 2010 songs. You know the Can I Blow Your Whistle Baby song? I used to love singing that until I found out what it meant. And oh, are those mushrooms? Oh my god, I see mushrooms on the map. I see mushrooms on the map. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god, guys. We finally found a rare animal. It's a mushroom. It's a mushroom. It's a mushroom. Wait. I see them on the map. Where I only have one creature. No. Hello. You're mine. That song is so funny if someone's... Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Okay, we got a mushroom. But there's another one here. I don't have an... Oh, there's a baby. There's a baby. Do I have a waystone? Do I have a waystone? No. Oh my god, I don't have another one. Strawberry milkshake sounds fun. Strawberry milkshake, yummy. I come back to mushrooms. I found mushrooms! But I only have one creature catcher. I want both. They have a baby too. I want all 3. What do I do? Strawberry, come over here. Strawberry, come. Haven't you been looking for mushrooms? I swear Strawberry is looking for them too. Or were you looking for the flower one? What do I do? What do I do? I mean, I can teleport home, but then I don't have a waystone to put down here to come back. Kidnap the baby? I can't. I only have one creature catcher. I've been looking for moo blooms, but mushrooms are also... Oh, moo blooms. Yeah, okay. I wish I had a waystone right now. Snap them cords. I mean, I'll take a screenshot. And oh, it's gone. Hold on. Someone take a screenshot for me. Brando, take a screenshot and put it in our Minecraft thing. You'll travel to it? Okay. Yeah, there's 2. I have 1. I remember I used to sing Can't Touch. Yeah. Na, can't touch this. No. Yeah. Or the bad touch when I played games a lot. I sing a lot. This is exactly how I felt when I was listening to Justin Timberlake. Sister J, you were like 12. Yeah, some of those songs are crazy, right? Listening to NSYNC earlier, and I was like, my sister listened to this when she was 9. They're crazy. Saved. Got you. All right. I mean, do I go back home now? I have found the animal that I like, but I want 2 of them. I want them to be together. So I mean, I can go home, but the Macarena was so innocent sounding until you figured out the lyrics. Really? What's funny, when I ran out of fights and just sang Can't Touch This on my way out, I sing songs when I'm scared. Yeah. Hey, Macarena. Hi. I don't want to leave. Ooh. But I suppose I must. I'm sad about this. So, what do we name this guy? What do we want to name our mushroom, guys? Have any names for him? some reason I envisioned this as a boy and the other one is the mama. What do we name him? Now that we have him, I should finish up the barn. Let's grab some wood and put some wood floorings in the barn. And then we'll figure out what the frick to do with the rest of it. Oopsies. Spruce. I think we have a decent amount of spruce. We do not have a decent amount of spruce. Oh god, we are actually almost out of spruce. Oh no. Oh no. Is it time to chop down some spruce? It might be. Mushi? What about Mushu? I feel like that's very common though, no? I heard my name. I didn't see nothing. Was ordering. Moosh Vader? I kind of like that one. Mushu? Mushu is cute. Mushu is cute. If we go to the big tree, we can do some chopping. We need some spruce wood. So, name him Mark. Why Mark in specific? Why specifically Mark? Truffle Shuffle is kind of cool. Truffle is cute. Mark the Mushroom. Mark the Mushroom. I mean, we do have... But we have Lady Glitter Sparkles and Sir Quacksworth, so we kind of need, like, a more regal name, don't we? Did I grab the... Did I not get any saplings from that? Here we go. We gotta replant the trees. That was Sev's only condition. If we chop down these trees near her house, we must replant them. I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. And I'd like to have a word, if you please. Bard the Shroomer. Shroomsworth. Shroomsworth. But we already have a worth. Wait, Shroomington. Shroom. What are his British, like, freaking, what are British names? Shroomsworth. Shroomsworth is good. Marcus Shroomsworth? I like the Marcus. That is, I do like that. Did I put this in my hand? How did I do that? I forget how to decorate the inside of a barn, but it's fine. Von Schroobus? Von Schroobus? Mushy DeMarcus? Harry Shrooman? Harry Shrooman. Harry Shrooman is good. I like that. You guys are so clever. Oh my god. This is why I was thinking, like, one day, if I ever did, like, a Pokemon stream or something, I'd want to, like, name my Pokemon after you guys, and we eventually run out of names. We'll have you guys invent the names. Baron Von Shroomy? How are we supposed to decide? I'm gonna make, like, a poll or something. How are we supposed to decide? You can just mix two viewer names together. Harry Shrooman is really good though, but I also like Marcus Shroomsworth. Ugh, there's too many. There's too many, guys. I think 41 is enough. I think 41 should be enough. I think we're good. Let's go back home. Baron Harry Shroomer. Shroomy. Oh my god. You guys are very clever. Hello, I didn't invite you here, bud. Okay. We should have enough planks. So what we gotta do now... I don't know why this shovel is so good, because it's literally... Is it me? And do I have, like, a ton of upgrade? Oh, you know what? I did level up my, my talent tree. That's probably why. Bubba the strawberry? Since you're Bubba, wouldn't Berry Shrooman make more sense? Berry Shrooman? It does kind of look like a berry. This is true. Shroom the last mushroom. No. But he had his wife and child. Strawberry's gonna go find them, mayhaps. The wife and child. Maybe. I feel like we should make an upstairs here. No. I feel like we do need an upstairs. I don't really want to watch the tutorial though. I don't want to do my own thing, but no. We're gonna fill the inside with wood, wooden planks. Barry Allen, the fastest Barry alive. But it's a cow. Barry Allen would be really good for like a horse if we got a horse, you know? Are there other colored horses in Minecraft other than like your usual colors, like special colors? Do those exist? Aang had his fellow airbenders as well before he became the Avatar. True Von Valentine. You have a lime green one? Really? Well, I don't have it, but one exists, I guess. Oopsies. You were only joking. Don't joke around. This is serious. This is serious stuff, man. This is importante. Turns out, I mean, I guess we can just make them here, right? And then we put an upstairs, maybe. Like, how tall do we want? Like, maybe here. Okay, maybe we do need to use all of our wood then. If we do this, and we put the upstairs like here. It's not gonna be a very tall upstairs, but I think it would still work. Oopsies. No! No! Mistakes were made! No! No hablas, muchacho! Okay, I gotta be really careful because my pickaxe is so good that it just shreds through everything. Okay. Okay. Oh! Linky boy, you wanna come back inside, bud? Linky boy. Just your usual short queen experience. Excuse me? How could you? Excuse me? Hold on, let me grab my dog. I'm judging you from the back. Oh, I also am stretching. Everyone, make sure that you stretch. That was a good stretch. Movington the Third. Movington the Third. Marcus von Schroomen. I like the Schroomen part. The Schroomen part is very clever. Moosey von Shrooms. I like... So, from what I'm understanding, you guys like the von Schroomen. So maybe we keep the von Schroomen. Marcus von Schroomen is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty good. It's pretty clever. I think we need to keep some of the middle open so that we can make some stairs. But how much of the middle open? How wide do we want these stairs? If it's too wide, like... I think it could be too wide, maybe, in the back? Like, here? And then it would, like, end here, maybe? And we can have some animals back here. Guys, stop. I keep spitting my coffee. They're quite clever, aren't they? Very, very clever little berries they are. Moomy von Moomin? The last of the Shrooman family. We did find them on the island, so there aren't that many left, huh? No, the campfire. Not the campfire. I don't know why you're saying no. So many of you guys, when I asked about your favorite superpowers, so many of you guys said you want fire powers. So I don't know why you're being like, no, not the fire. You guys were the ones that said you wanted fire powers. Fungus Bee Among Us. Fungus Bee wow, what a name. Fungus Bee Among Us. Among Us. Oh, no, it is Among Us. Oh, I don't have enough. No. Okay, I'm gonna use these. I think we need more. We always need more. We never have enough spruce, man. But that's looking better, right? It's kind of plain. I might decorate these sides with some stuff, but it's a barn. I mean, it doesn't need to be that crazy, right? Okay. And then we need to put like some... I need so much stuff, man. What's the glowy thing? These? I don't know. They just appeared. So I'm not really sure if Sev put them down here or if they're just like their own thing. But they're all over. I'm not really sure what they are. Duck egg. Oh. No sun for you. Hi! Sev did it. Oh, yeah, they're all over. That's how I accidentally killed Duckley. I was trying to remove one of these and then Duckley was in the way. 07 Duckley. We will bring you back. We have the eggs. I know Sun for you is crazy. We're trying to revive Duckley. If I ever got firepower, I try to see if I can use them as rockets, then just play around from where I can shoot fires and be like a fire dancer that shoots fireballs from all directions. Says, I have a question. If you plug your nose and blow really hard, does your hair shoot up like a flame pillar? Out of curiosity, I just like, and it would just like shoot up like a rocket. But then if you burst out in flames anytime someone touches you, that would be a pain. We do have some stairs, nice, but we do need more spruce logs, unless we use oak or birch. Do we still have birch? Birch. We do have birch. Birch is a possibility. No, I don't have hair. No, I'm asking Sizz because he has fiery hair. So I'm asking him. I just want to know. I thought you were gonna say, does it pop out of your ears? I mean that too, but you know, like in Hercules when Hades gets mad, his hair just like explodes. You know, I'm just curious. I'd learned to breakdance just to do that one move that Zupa does. Yo, that one move is like hella sick though. It's super cool. So I think I want it to start here, not like directly at the entrance. So we're gonna do like this. Like this. Oh, and that's where the stairs would go. Ooh, maybe we don't have the stairs go here. Maybe we have the stairs go like on the side, like here-ish. I think that would be better, actually. I don't know what I'm doing, guys, to be honest. Ugh. Mistakes were made. You know when you share too much because you're too sleepy? Yeah, maybe. Mayhaps, just a little. And then back here, maybe back here is its own thing? I'm not really sure if this would work. Or do we just store stuff back here? I like the idea of these being their own things though. Okay, like, because that looks cool, doesn't it? But then how do we fill it in like this? So that's how you separate it, right? Like that? I think that's kind of cool. Yeah, I think I like that. And then we would need fences, right? Is it too late to change my wish? I mean, no. Interesting to hear them all. Only reason I want firebending is because we won't need gas for cooking. If I could be a bender, I'd be a waterbender. Not to choose, I just think the waterbender suits my personality the most, to be honest. So we'll have one here, one here. I'm gonna leave this open for like storage space. Same on this side. Lady Glitter Sparkles has her little corner over here. And then maybe we put another one back here? I don't know. I wish for Bubba to forget last 10 minutes. Why? It's funny. Bubblinglicious, how you doing, Yams? Are you still working? Let me do a hydrate. You wanted to buy a fan or something to keep cool? So you'd be an airbender then? I was gonna say you give me waterbender, also same for me. Believe it or not though, I don't know if you guys know this, but the bending styles in Avatar: The Last Airbender are based off of real life martial arts styles. So waterbending is based off of Tai Chi, firebending is based off of the Shaolin style, earthbending is based off of, I believe, what is earthbending based off? I wanna say it was based off of tiger style martial arts. And then airbending, oh god, I forgot what airbending was. It was something very specific. But I personally have practiced Northern Shaolin style martial arts. So I know a lot of the moves that they do with firebending. Like I can personally do them myself. So like my own fighting style is the most similar to firebending. But like my personality is waterbending. Praying mantis is something I remember hearing. Where's my Muay Thai fighting style? I've done Muay Thai as well. So I haven't really said my martial arts style just because I didn't want to dox myself. I don't think, no one's gonna Google it. I specifically practice praying mantis northern style, 7-star praying mantis northern Shaolin. That is my, yeah. Do I have any other fences? No. Maybe we should get some more birch then. Although we do have a decent amount. Oh, we do have a lot of oak. I can just make oak, actually. I feel like oak fences are fine. And then. I want to make oak fence. Spruce fence, oak fence. How do I make a ton of these in one sitting? Because you can only do like the plus. I guess we can just do it like this. We'll just do this. And then we'll do this. And then we'll do this. Let's just make a frick ton of fences. There we go. There we go. Okay. Oh, wait. Probably should have made some... Probably should have made some gates, huh? I probably... Oopsies! Probably should have made some gates. Yep. Okay. Well... Let's do this. Okay, and then... Let's do that. Okay. Air nomads could take your breath away, literally. That's true. Not gonna lie, if air nomads weren't pacifists, the firebenders would have lost. Yeah, they had control of literal oxygen. Especially, what was his name in Korra? He was the one that ended up getting airbending, and he could literally steal the air from your lungs. That's how he killed the queen, right? That's so neat. Yeah. Just give Bubba a bow and a fishnet. She'll be happy. Yeah. I did Taekwondo when I was younger. Wish I could get back into it. But a lot of instructional places near me are mostly for kids. That's okay. They do have adult classes, too. Yeah, I was, let's just say. I was, I don't want to say too much. I did very well in martial arts, yes. I was at the national level. To be honest, same for waterbending, they can dehydrate their enemy. Every bending style is amazing. I don't think it's fair to compare them because everything has their strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. Now the real question is not just what bender would you be, but what Pixie Hollow fairy type would you be? Animal fairy, without a doubt. I'd be animal fairy. I'd be pretty princess, yeah. No adult Taekwondo classes near me. Oh, that's unfortunate. I do miss it. My Sifu moved away, out of the country actually, so I can't practice anymore, but I do my own occasionally. I was making fence gates, wasn't I? What the frick do I make? We do this, right? No, it's in the middle. We do in the middle, and then we split these, and we do like so. Yes, like so. Okay, good enough. That should be enough. Do I know what I'm doing? Not at all, guys. Not at all. But we're gonna make it. We're gonna do our best. The hell is a Pixie Hollow fairy? I see some of you guys didn't have a good childhood. I read all of the Pixie Hollow books. I would always go to the library, and anytime the Scholastic Book Fair came along, we could never afford to buy books, but I always would read under the table, like, while the fair was going on. Just so that I could, read at least some of it. Is this like a double gate situation? Me think so. Should I make this? Maybe I should, just because I don't have space. Maybe I should just make... I wanted this to be a storage spot, but I think we'll put the stairs here to go up. Only pretty girl things I watch were My Little Pony and Wings. Huh. Looks up Pixie Hollow fairy types. There's a lot. There is a lot. We should do it. We should do a quiz. Maybe I'll post a quiz in Discord. Which Pixie Hollow fairy are you? Animal fairy. I see it. I see it. What would you be, Strawberry? The guy was a master airbender. He could literally levitate with only one person before could. But he wasn't an airbender. He was a master bender, wasn't he? And then the whole point of that was that airbenders were returning because of nature. Like bringing it back for balance or whatever. What's the weakness of air nomads?
Oh yeah.
Their pacifism.
Oh yeah.
It was their literal philosophy was their weakness, I think. The second private, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Does Totally Spies or Kim Possible count? True, it does. It does. I've never watched Kim Possible. I go meow. I go meow. I don't know. I am alone. Hey little kitty. Oh, it's such a pity. You are the shining star. I'm not doing that. Someone is gonna sell my data and see my Pixie Hollow fairy. Blackmail me. That's crazy. Why am I forgetting how to put stairs down? We start down here. Ito. See, this is the issue. We'll do it like it's smash the door. Hands up, folks. I'm searching for Miss Bubba to deliver a very important parcel. A parcel. Miss Bubba. Are Miss Bubba by any chance? Yes, I am Miss Bubba. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Oh. Welcome in, welcome in. Hold on, hold on. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Hold on. I'll get there. Jokes aside. Welcome in. How you doing, Private? How is everything? What am I doing, guys? Help! Help! My brain has stopped functioning. Okay. We do this. And then we do this. And then we do, this. Yes, yes, yes. There we go. I'm figuring it out, guys. I'm figuring it out. Oh. I'm crying. There's a clapping fairy. Is there a reason? There's like a fairy for literally everything. So, not super surprised. Not super surprised. Please be enough. Please say I have exactly enough. Oh, no. We're so close. Oh, I mean, we kind of have enough. If we remove these... Does that look weird, guys? If we don't have, like, anything underneath it? Should I put, like, the other stairs underneath it? Like this? Like that? Oopsies. I think that looks fine. Heard it's much more OP than the cricket whistling one. Yeah, you gotta go with the meta, you know? There's literally light bending fairy. That looks good, right? I think that looks good. It's slightly blocking Lady Glitter Sparkle's area, but I think that's fine. I think that's fine, right? What do we think, guys? What are these fairy types? What's next? The fingernail fairy? I'm back. What did I miss? If you could be any fairy type from the Pixie Hollow fairy series, what would you be? That's what we're asking right now. Oh lord, it's dark up here. We do not want any zombies spawning up here. Let's put some torches. Yes, some torches are very important. Okay, let's put some here too. Why is there a hole here? I think I found my fairy type. Want to guess? Tell me. I do not guess very well. Is there an undead fairy? I don't know, actually. Oh, it bothers me that this is slightly blocking her. I think if I push this back by 1... Okay, actually, I think if we push this back by 1, it won't block her. I think if we put the stairs here... Did I put a hole in the ground? I feel like I put a hole in the ground. I did not. So if we do this instead. Oh. Can't believe that Tuturu was from Steins Gate all along. I used to use that as a sound alert. Turns out it's from Steins Gate. Okay. And then we get rid of these. Doorknob fairy type? That's what you would be? What does a doorknob fairy type do? Opens the doors for you? How does that work? Just need to find a keyhole design fairy type and we will be a perfect match. Crazy. Pardon my nervous tweets. Pardon me. I get gassy when I'm nervous. It creates doorknobs for doors at the home tree. Oh, that's so specific. Okay, that's better. I think I like this better. So that it's not blocking Lady Glitter Sparkle. Okay, where do we put Mushroom? If we're gonna put the whole family here, we're gonna put him in here. And I think I like the Marcus von Shroomen name. So what do you guys think? Marcus von Shroomen? Is that I think that's the name we're gonna go for. Hopefully Strawberry can capture the mama and the baby. Mayhaps. I need to put a door in this barn. But the barn is getting there, guys. Hole in cheese punchy? Isn't the fairy world so great? There's something for everyone. Are you saying I should look out for competition? Who's that 5, Genjamon? Marcus von Shroomen sounds amazing. Yeah, thanks to you guys. Let's get the name tag and name him. I don't think I have very many name tags left, actually. Yeah, we do not. We only have 2 left. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. Marcus my god, put that in there. Okay, so his name is Marcus von Schrumen. Perfect. Beautiful. Can't have a keyhole without a key. Oh my god. What are you guys yapping about? You found the shortest fairy type name. Knowing when a plate is done fairy. Knowing when a plate is done. Oh, I put him in here. Did I put him in here? I thought I put him in that one. Wait, what? Hold on. Panic. I swear I put him in the other one. What? Did I not put him in here? Oh, he can jump over. I forgot to put fences. Oopsies. Hold on. I was supposed to cover these. No! No! Go back! You naughty boy! No! It's fine, whatever. You're the one giving yourself less space. I hope you know that. I hope you know that's your fault. Oy. Oh my god. I'll settle on rice growing. Oh, rice growing's cute! You guys wouldn't go for like the OP ones? See, like that was the whole premise of the Tinkerbell movies. Tinkerbell was like so sad because there was like light fairies and there was water fairies, like all these cool types of fairies, and she was a tinker fairy and she was like, this isn't cool, man. I want to be like a cool fairy. If you're twisting my arm to guess, I'd say it's a fairy that knows when people finish their food. Yup. There you go, bud. There you go. Okay. He shouldn't be able to escape now, hopefully. Stay in your area, bud. Okay. Now we give him his name. There you go. Marcus von Schroom. He can't escape, right? We should be good, right? Hopefully. Nope, that looks dumb. I was trying to figure out like decoration name. Oh! Gotta stop doing that. Just gotta think smarter, not harder. I suppose. I suppose. Did I mess up here? And why am I missing something here? Oh. Naruhodo. Get a donkey, name him Namor. Why Namor? What did Namor do to you? No. We should get a donkey though. Guys. Where is Sir? Oh, he's here. Don't do that to me, Sir Quacksworth. Don't do that to me. You're freaking me out. Oh, he needs his own pen too. Should we put him in here? We don't have enough pens though. I mean, I guess we can make more up here actually. We have a lot of space up here. I guess we could make more up there. Namor Hamar. No. Not the Namor Hamar. What did Namor do to you? Okay, Jojo. You stay there. I'm gonna put Quacksworth in his new home. Oopsies. There you go, bud. Boop. No. You like to escape so quickly, Quacksworth. I need you to chill. Brother, I need you to stop. Oh my god, he does that so quick. There we go. Jeez. They can't jump over gates, right? We should be good, right? No, what the hell? Hibernation bedtime story fairy. Oh, bedtime story is cute. I like that. Okay, what kind of doors can we make? Door. Spruce door, birch door. Oh, the birch door is cute. Oh, the cherry doors. Cherry door. Do I have cherry stuff? I want to make a cherry door. That looks so cute. Add some decorations. Decorations are very cute. So beautiful. So beautiful. And I do have some hay bales we can use as decoration. We're gonna go like here and here. Hay bales, maybe a barrel or two. Mouse milking? Spruce doors give the barn vibe. That is true. That is true. So true. Okie dokie. And then we do... Is this... I want to put lanterns inside as well. Yeah, that's so cozy. We need to make some lanterns. I don't know, I don't even know if I have lanterns. The barn is done, guys! And up here will just be storage stuff. I don't know. Or we could put more animals up there. But the barn is officially done. Everyone has a home. Yippee! Oh! Will you have a son? No son for you. Change the blocks under the doors to planks. Smart. Smart. Wait. Oh, I have 3. Okay. Oh my god. I was like, I don't have any. I do. I have just enough. Where did my doors go? They're right here. I'm blind. Smart, smart, smart. Romantic table for when we get more unique pets and can have babies. I just want the other mushroom if possible. He needs his family, you know? He needs his family. Lady Glitter Sparkles. I would change these, but I don't want to mess anything up. So I'm just gonna keep it in. I'm just gonna keep it as dirt for her. She gets her dirt. And then we have Jojo outside. Everyone is vibing. Now I could make a path. I do want to make a path to connect everything, but I'm really bad at paths. I want to do what Strawberry did with her cute little paths, but I'm worried I'm gonna mess things up. I did not mean to kill him. It's a good thing I moved my animals. I did not mean to. The same thing happened last. I did not mean to kill that guy. 07. Oh, 07 sheep. Good thing it wasn't one of mine. Oh boy. I did not mean to do that. Oopsie daisies. Whoops. Oopsies. It's supposed to be like this, right? It's because Sev kept putting these lights down, and then these lights kill people. Okay, path to the house complete. This don't look symmetrical, but it's fine. It's fine. Oh, it's not fine! It's not fine. It's not fine. I messed up. How the churns have tabled. I remember the second time. I know. Bubba told me she would never kill a thing at the start of today. It was an accident! It was an accident! I didn't do it on purpose! It was an accident! How do I fix this? Why does it feel like there's something off here? No? Does that feel like it's off? I guess it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a pathway. And we do a pathway from here to the barn, right? So 1, 2, 3. Shovel's gonna break soon. Jeez. Oh. I'm trying to put my shovel. There we go. We start going this way. We start. Oh, there goes my shovel. Do I have any sticks on me? I don't. Who doesn't have sticks? Apparently I don't. -1 sheep. It wasn't my sheep, so it doesn't count, guys. It doesn't count because it wasn't my sheep. You know, it was an accident. It was just an accident, guys. It was just an accident. Oh wait. Why did I need a stick? Oh, I need to make a shovel. Stick. Stick. Did I really use up all my sticks? Oh my god. Do I have any extra planks that I'm not using? Sure. Do this. Stick. Okay. And then we do shovel. Iron. -1 sheep, -1 shovel. Dang, this construction work has some steep charges. It really does. It really does. Ugh, I'm starting to lose steam, guys. We're gonna end soon, I think. I've been streaming for 3.5 hours. No wonder I'm losing steam. Goodness gracious me. Do, 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 do. I'm really messing up these pathways, but cheese what it is. Let's do this now. Okay, well, it's kind of an awkwardly big part right here, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think that you got pathways everywhere. It looks cute. Yeah, I like it. Gonna be heading to bed. Have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks for all the fun. Thanks for stopping in, Timmy. Have a lovely rest of your night. Woohoo path. Look how cozy it looks. Honestly, the lights that Seth put for me is very cozy. Very, very cozy. We just have random leaves now. Okay. Path. You order me food? I want food. I should order something. Well, we finished the barn. We got a mushroom, which is great. We recovered Lady Glitter Sparkles. Probably the best part of today is we covered Lady Glitter Sparkles. Yes. Oh, I'm gonna stretch. And we vibed today. Thank you everyone who hung around. I'm going to disconnect for a little. I forgot to say bye to Strawberry, but how do I quit? Here we go. Let me move back to just chatting. Goodness, it's hot today. It got so warm so quickly. What the frick? What's to Bubba? Thank you. Everyone stick around for a second. We're gonna find someone to raid. But I appreciate everyone hanging out with me today. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. Just remembered yesterday I played with Rocket who had literally 0 heals, was fully committed to DPS. No, if I'm gonna do DPS Rocket, I'm at least gonna do a little extra. Oh, perfect actually. BL is doing Minecraft as well, so we can raid into her. Yippee! Oh my god, guys, wish her the best of luck. This is her first playthrough of Minecraft. She's never done Minecraft before, so do wish her the best of luck. Please be kind, okay? Don't backseat with her unless she's asking for it, okay? Okay? My berries are polite, proper little berries, okay? Don't do anything bad. But yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday. We're gonna do Monster Hunter because I'm not obsessed, not at all. And I will see you guys later, all right? Bye. Thank you so much. Bye.